Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your daddy, Rick Rock, and we're back with the Comfort Stop. Episode 16 just wrapped. I had a special guest. I had a very special guest, and man, we chopped it up for a little bit, and it's quite a long podcast. So, man, everybody out there that's been waiting for the next podcast to come out, hopefully this one is a little longer, and it'll keep you, it'll fill you up. It'll fill your belly up. And I'll work on getting another podcast out later this week. But with no further ado, let's get into the Comfort Stop, boy. Let's fucking go. Yeah. What's up? This is Rick Rock, and we're jumping into the Comfort Stop. Episode 16. And man, this should be a fucking doozy. This is gonna be my first episode that I've ever done with a guest. And man, you can have any guest, dude. Like, you see all these other podcasts, and they have like cool guests. And man, then you have a fucking Comfort Stop episode, and I got a fucking hitter, dude. He's a fucking hitter. You'll know him just by his voice alone. Like, I don't even have to do an intro. I could we could just dive into the podcast, and you'll be like, oh shit, that's the dude from Fed Up, dude. Fucking Ron Speakman. He's fucking in the building. Ron Speakman, where you at?
What's up, brother? I'm in my home office right now. Pennsylvania. What's up?
Man, what's up? Number 16 in the background. That's Joe Montana. Man, this is going to be a good sign because this is episode 16. And usually I just have podcasts on bullshit. And I just talk about like other shit, like work shit. But man, this is going to be a good episode, man. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I don't know how long it's going to be. So if it's like 45 minutes or it's an hour or it's an hour and a half, man, just fucking enjoy it. Just fucking enjoy it, man. We're going to take you on a little ride. It'll be like a roller coaster ride. But man, back to Ron Speakman. This dude, like, if you don't know who Ron Speakman is, like, you're going to be like, oh, dude, Ron Speakman. Yeah, he's that dude that fights for like all these federal workers. Like, and he gets fucking heated. Like, you're listening to the podcast, you see smoke coming out of his ears. You're like, damn, he's fucking heated. And he doesn't fucking mince words, or he doesn't stutter. So man, he's a killer. So man, Ron, man, let's go on this ride. We'll go on it together. And
let's go.
I'll probably just be watching.
Buckle up, baby. Let's roll.
Buckle up. I need a Renfro. Hold on.
Listen, I already had my MLP, so I'm good to go. I had my coffee.
Drinking a Shirley Renfro. Man. So Ron, man, so I've listened to your podcast, and man, growing up, you said you had 2 chips on your shoulders, like growing up, man. And I want to know what those chips are. And I want to know if you still have those chips on your shoulders, or is it just 1 chip now?
Yes, sir. Listen, when anybody grows up in an atmosphere or an environment where there's no structure, no discipline, no accountability, I don't care who you are, you're going to run amok, right? You're going to be out there doing your thing with no supervision, right? But I came from a very broken home, all that good shit. No supervision. Like I said, no discipline, no structure. Was raised in the system for a little bit. I've been through some fucked up shit. Lived on the streets for a while, but Those of you that listened to episode one, you already know what it is. If you haven't listened, go check out episode one. I don't want to take up a lot of our time getting into my background, but it was rough growing up with, or I should say, the way that I did. So naturally, you're gonna have fight or flight sink in at that time too. Fight, flight, or freeze, I should say, right?
Yep.
And I always had a will to do the right thing, to better myself, if you will, um, which cultivated this sense of justice and accountability that I have today, if that makes sense. But man, I guess it takes hardship and failures over and over and over to breed success and to breed character. And that's pretty much what I went through in my story. Um, I could tell you stories, bro, being handcuffed to doors and I'm fucking 3, 4 years old because they ain't
Wow.
no babysitter. Um, I'm talking about a day on end, at a time. It was rough, not knowing where your next meal was going to come from, if you're going to have shelter the next day. Um, it was rough, but that's where those two chips in my shoulder come from. Having that lack of structure, discipline, and accountability, but also being the minority where I grew up, right? That was pretty much how it was for me. I had to fight naturally, being this Caucasian, this white boy coming, living in the inner city, but then also, listen, people who had Section 8 housing or had public assistance, they had it better than me. So there was times when we would move around and live in one of these places with whoever the friends they were of my parents at that time. But I could tell you it was rough. I had to build who I was back then without even knowing it. I remember the first time I got punched in the face, bro. It was one of these. Boop. I turned around. Boop. Right here. That was my first shiner. Went home. Um, well, where we were staying at that time, and God bless my grandma. She was a tough soul, but she's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing here? Go back out there." It's the same grandma, by the way, that said, "You got 2 ears, one mouth for a reason, so shut your mouth and listen." She was a bad woman. And that's pretty much when Ron Speakman was, started to develop that character that, at that time was fuck around and find out, right? But I think now it's cultivated and molded into a more respectable professional version, if you will, where that was the watered down version. But regardless, however you break that down, I had a will to always better my circumstances, to better who I was as a person. No excuses, no bullshit. You get dealt the hands you get dealt with in life, and you can either accept it and tolerate it, or you can do something about it. Now, obviously, I didn't know the extent of that back then, right? We all, the saying, "Well, man, I wish I would have known that back then. It'd be a different story," right?
Yep.
Same thing here. Nothing different from you, Rick, or anybody else out there. I'm nobody special. I just had something inside of me that was like, "Yo, pick yourself up, put on your big boy pants, lace up them boots," right? When shit is kicked your way, you got to learn how to smack it back, give it back. Kind of like being a postal employee. You got to learn to have thick skin, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, two chips in the shoulder, and that's pretty much graduated as you grow and mature. And I think I've said it many times before. I got one chip now, and I don't think that will ever leave me. Right? You heard the
Yeah.
expression: you can take the man out of the, you can take a person out of the projects or the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto or the projects out of the person. That's pretty much the same thing with me. I have that attitude, that mentality, that street smarts. That'll never leave me, bro, ever. But
Yeah.
it's cultivated into a professional version of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And the funny thing is, man, you're talking about you know, the projects, and coming from the projects, you could leave the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the dude, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because, man, that bullshit detector, we all got that bullshit detector, and like some of us don't though. But like people
And
that
that's
come,
okay, by the way.
yeah, and that's okay. That's
If
okay.
you get punched in the face, then it's not okay. Then you gotta learn to do something else.
Yeah, but dude, like how many of us have that bullshit detector where we're like, oh, that's some motherfucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to fucking bullshit me. They're trying to like the whole Renfro shit. Like you're like, this motherfucker's trying to bullshit me. And then you see so many people that are just like, they don't even see the bullshit,
Well,
right?
people have a pampered, entitled life as well. You know,
God, it's
everybody's
fucking
different.
crazy.
You can't hold them against that. People's upbringings may not like be like mine or be like yours, or that's why they call it individuality. But I don't think you need to come from a background like mine or from you or anybody else, have a good life or a bad life to recognize the smoke and mirrors and bullshit coming out of Brian Renfrod's fucking mouth and through his. You don't have to be from the same walk of life now. You can be whatever walk of life. You got to be able to see the bullshit.
Yeah.
But you know, also what they say, common sense ain't so fucking common anymore either. So, eh,
Oh, common sense. Yeah, dude. Man, me and you had a conversation a few weeks ago. Uh, man, I think we just called to just to bullshit, right?
yeah.
Man, and we were talking about bologna sandwiches, dude.
I don't know how you brought up baloney, and I was like, what did I say? I said my baloney has a first name. It's OSCAR. For those of you old enough, you remember those old commercials on TV.
Oscar Mayer.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
we were eating that bologna with the red fucking tape around it. And like you would eat the red tape with the bologna and just chew it and just
No,
chew on it.
no. I fried mine or
Oh
fire if
shit.
I had the open fire. But yeah.
Dude, but me and Ron had this conversation and we were talking about bologna. And I was like, Ron, like, I know a lot of people don't eat bologna sandwiches anymore, but man, when somebody else like your mom makes the bologna sandwich, it tastes so much fucking better than when you make it yourself. Like I can make a bologna sandwich today and put like mayonnaise, cheese, and some Wonder Bread. But if I don't slice it diagonally down the center or, diagonally and make it like a cool sandwich, it just doesn't taste as fucking good. And I was like, dude, I think that's with like all food. Like when somebody else is making it for you, it just tastes so much better. But me and Ron, we didn't quite agree on that one because he's like, he told me, man, he's a good cook. And he's like, man, you know what? My food tastes the best because when I make it. And I was just like, damn, Ron, I wish I could be more like Ron Speakman because,
No.
man, man, when I cook, I don't even feel like eating. And I don't know how many of you out there, just like when you're cooking, you're just like, you guys fucking eat. You guys go ahead and you just want to watch everybody's face like, oh, it's good. Yeah, it's hella good. But yeah, we talk about important shit like bologna sandwiches and what Brian Renfro drinks. Uh, man, some funny shit.
Hey, let's not forget about that government cheese on a slice of bread with ketchup. Hot dogs and just a slice of bread with that
Fucking
government cheese
hot
and ketchup.
dogs.
Mm.
Fucking hot dogs, guys.
Sugar water. Who knows about that sugar water now?
Fuck, dude.
That was some good stuff.
Man. So, man, other questions I have for you
Shoot.
is in this today's climate, uh with today's climate in the post office, um, man, you have a lot of people, running to the forefront or to the front line of like a cause, and you're like behind the scenes, like everybody, like I know who you are and people know who you are, but man, you take I feel like you have a different position, like the way you handle stuff. But like, do you consider yourself like an activist or like, because everybody talks about activism, like I'm an activist, and they're like militant, like, or in some cases you have people out there and they're like, I'm a yeah, this is my cause and I'm a fucking like I feel like I'm a revolutionary, like what I'm gonna do, like, but like I know you probably see it too, but like, man, what do you consider yourself? What do you consider yourself? You just man, how are you doing it?
I mean, I don't consider myself an activist, an advocate, or a militant. I mean, I consider myself doing the right thing kind of guy. Uh, I stand by justice. I stand by what I believe in, what is right and what is wrong. I utilize facts and try to gather as much information as I can before coming to a conclusion and forming my opinion on something. They call that an educated, formed opinion, right? with all the information gathered or intel, however you want to say it. But I don't consider myself any of that. I went through the system myself, was screwed over. No one was there to help me. Had to figure it out on my own, navigate these dark, muddy waters on my own when I got hurt on the job. And that's what started it for me as far as postally related, right? Talk about being an advocate. I'll take it back to the old days when we were just talking. I've always stood up for myself. I always stood on a principle or some values, traditions, a, a code, right, of my own. That code kind of shifted and changed as we got older, obviously, but it still remained the same and focused around some of the same things. So I always consider myself one of standing up for myself, and then that formulated into sticking up and standing up for others who couldn't, who didn't either know how to or they can't. Again, we talk about fight, flight, or freeze, right? I think sometimes people freeze, and that's okay. If you find yourself in that moment again, reflect on what happened. If you find yourself in that situation again, then maybe you might, instead of freezing, you might fight or flight. Right.
Yeah,
You always want to grow. There's levels to this game and maturity to this game of called life. To you as an individual, I think we all got to take that into account for our lives and understand nothing happens overnight. But to answer your question, no, I'm not. I don't consider myself any of those, man. I'm just a person out here trying. I started as trying to make sure people don't have to go through what I went through as a federal employee, and it's hard sometimes because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach it to drink.
that's the fucking truth.
Um, and people don't realize, man, I put a lot into this, and it hurts sometimes. The stories that are told to me, and I know. Listen, every time I think that I done heard it all, something always comes up, man. A story or somebody reaches out. For instance, there's a story that I would believe. Mean, you and I talked about this before, but there's a story coming. I've been working on it for 3, 4 years now, and I was waiting on this carrier to be in a better space mentally to be able to come on the show and share their story with us. I didn't feel like it should just be me. It needed to pack a punch and it needed to say something. So I'm gonna let them tell it. I'm just gonna assist and help them tell their story in a way where you all out there can understand it. But um, their story is huge. But and again, you give it a couple months, I'll probably hear another story that's like, oh fuck, you know. But me an advocate, no. Now, can I? You guys can classify me as whatever you like. You know, I'm sure some people call me an asshole. Hey, take it with a grain of salt, baby. But one thing for sure about Ron Speakman is I won't stay silent. I won't stay shut, and I'll stand up for what I believe in. Can I be militant? Absolutely, I can. Do I be militant? Am I militant today? No, no. Do I feel that word is used loosely in today in our fucking union, the NELC? Absolutely. And again, this is my opinion. Your opinion might differ, or other people's opinions might differ, and that's okay. That's fine. But respectfully, I disagree. I think I talked about this with JH a little bit a while ago, but so it's just interesting that you brought that up. But militant, I mean, well, look that up. What does militant mean in the Merriam-Webster dictionary? Engaged in warfare or combat, fighting, aggressively active, as in a cause, right? Combative. So technically, our union and some people can be considered militant. But in my eyes, nah, you ain't militant. This union isn't militant. These causes ain't militant. And right now, I know some people out there like, what the fuck is Ron talking about? What is he saying? Oh, you know, you just heard me read you the dictionary meaning. So technically, you can be considered a militant because it says aggressively active as in a cause. But what's not taken into account in these words here on definitions and stuff is the culture and the history behind these words. We talk about militant, we talk about advocate. To me, when I think militant, and this is going to sound a little bit, I don't want to say hypocritical, but maybe condescending or throwing you off a little bit, but you can be nonviolence or violence as a militant. Because sometimes silence says a lot more than violence itself. You know, take the marches, the Million Man March, and Martin Luther King and all that, the sit-ins, right? But when I think militant, I think Tupac. right? I think Black Panthers, you can show up in a force where you're not scared to use or take force in a violent manner if needed for your cause. Now, am I saying, oh, letter carriers go out there with your bats? Not, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. Hear me now. Listen, like my grandma said, you got two ears and one mouth for a reason. So let's just listen now. It's great to see all these causes and all these things happening. BFN, CLC. I love James Henry, Corey Walton, that whole ticket. We're on to something here.
Oh yeah.
But even then, I consider them activists and advocates, right? I don't consider them militant in any means, and don't read too much into that. I'm sure you can debate that through and through, up and down, sideways all day. But until you're willing to show that force and show up and be compared to that kind of status, like a Black Panther Party, like um, you know, Tupac and all this stuff, there's no way that I would say that we're militant. No way. We're
Yeah.
pissed off? Fuck yeah, we're pissed off. We have a right to be pissed off. But let me ask you something. We talk about militant advocacy activists. My one boy, he's Hassan Batts. He's from where my town, he's in Allentown, and he started a thing called Promising Neighborhoods. Him and I used to work together back at those boot camps that I was talking about in episode 1 that I helped ran for a while with adjudicated youth and violent offenders. And he got his doctorate and started this movement. I had to tell him and remind him, like, listen, bro, he was getting big, and you're always going to have a target on your back when you start rising as an activist, an advocate. And I had to tell him, be careful. I said, bro, there's a lot of people out there. Now, again, you're talking about a black man. I'm a white man. No matter, it took me a long time to learn this. I got white privilege, regardless what people think. If you're Caucasian like me, you got white privilege. And even me, and I grew up, I'm called the exception to the rule in many different situations and circumstances because of how I grew up. But I still got white privilege because of the color of my skin. But for him, being a black man, I was like, bro, and being, we worked tight together. It was a good team, him and I. But he had to be winded. I was like, yo, listen, you flirting with that line. You can be an activist and an advocate, but there's a line that is drawn. And when you cross that line, now you're coming into the scope of being militant.
Man, you know what, Ron? Sorry to interrupt you,
Go ahead,
but
bro. Do you?
man, there's not even a. I don't even know if there's a line, but there's a light.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like a line. I just feel like it's that light, like motion detector. Like you got that. You're walking, and then all of a sudden that motion detector goes off, and you're like, ah,
Hmm.
fuck, they see me now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they fucking see me.
But it's okay. Let them
Yeah,
see you. That's what you want. When you're a leader of a cause like that. Like for him, it was ending gun violence, right? This is the kind of shit that you need to expect when you're in a leadership position like that, when you're leading the charge in a cause such as this. For us, it'd be the NELC and all the stuff that we're fighting for currently within our own union, right? But you got to expect the backlash. You got to expect the bad with the good with the bad. But there is that fine line that you flirt with. And in his case,
yeah, for
I think it's a
sure.
lot worse than what we got going on for certain reasons. But my point is, there's a fine line or a light, as you said, like you
Yeah,
once you step into that limelight from activist, advocate into militant, that target gets bigger. You
yeah. You're in my fucking yard now.
yeah.
That motherfucker's in
But
our yard.
motion detected in the front yard.
Hey, somebody's in the fucking yard. Man, yep. Yeah, and it's funny too because a lot of these people, you know, in the postal service, they get this light. They want the light. Man, but we're talking about like militant and like activism. Man, but once they go home and have some hamburger helper, like they turn that shit off. They're like, man, let me take this off. We'll deal with it. We'll do that tomorrow. Like, when you're talking about militant and fucking an activist, you don't take that jacket off when you get home. You leave that shit on till tomorrow when you wake up. Like, you don't come home and fucking eat hot dogs and say, I'm done being militant for like 6 hours because, man, I got to get some sleep. Like, it's fucking, you're full time.
Yeah,
because
full time.
you got all these eyes on you. So like you're a full time motherfucker now.
I
You
mean,
know what I'm
look, this is a funny, it's relevant to what we're talking about, but I want to make a point here. We talked about militant, right? Being someone who's aggressively active in support of a cause, right? Often favoring confrontational or extreme methods to achieve their goals, right? So militants are typically uncompromising and may even resort, not take action on that, but resort to violence or disruption, although not all militants are violent. So again, you can debate that all day. But some key traits. Let's talk about that, brother. Aggressive
Let's
or
go.
confrontational, right? Aggressive or confrontational, uncompromising, and willing to break norms or laws to their cause. Now let that shit sink in. Are we still calling ourselves militant at this point? If you are, cool. I'm gonna take it a step further and talk about some of those examples. Again, the Black Panther Party, they took militant stance for black rights and self-defense against police brutality. Now that's to me, you can't compare that to what we got going on in the NELC. But you see what my point that I'm going here. But to make the point a little bit more and even interject a little bit of humor here, ALF, ALF, Animal Liberation Front. They are a militant animal rights group known for sabotaging facilities involved in animal testing. They're more fucking militant than what we are as a group, an organization, as the NELC, and as the rank and file and the members. I'm not trying to take stabs or take shots at anybody. I'm just trying to make a point. Stop using that word militant very fucking loosely in this union. You understand? Because there's a fine line, there's a difference. And again, this is just my opinion. Some of y'all out there be like, yo, shut the fuck up, Ron. And that's cool. Hey, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
I ask you this. All y'all people out there who voted that no on the TA, how many of y'all, and I said this before, how many of y'all are willing to write that witness statement on the workroom floor for your brother and sister? Better yet, how many of y'all, and we're going to talk about this in a little later, I'm sure, how many of y'all going to show up to Brother Ray Hodge the sentencing for the person who committed that violent act against him in support of his family, but not just in support of his family, in support of all letter carriers. Y'all preach an injury to one is an injury to all. Well, guess what? Justice for Ray is justice for all. So show up, show out, and speak up. You know
Man,
what I mean?
let's get into Ray Hodge.
Yeah.
Uh there was podcast all last week. Next Generation with John Murphy.
Yes, sir.
Uh Man, there was a ton. Corey on from Made Arbitration, Classes of Mail. Man, there was a handful of others, and I can't even think of them right now.
Yeah.
But they were all talk. They all read about Ray Hodge and like what happened, and it was like a post that you had shared.
Yeah.
While I have you on here, and like, man, one of the main reasons you're on here was so we could talk about this. Man, so I'm gonna hand it over to you, and then so everybody else can get familiar and know what's going on with Brother Hodge. So let's go.
I appreciate that. First off, I should have said this before we got started. I appreciate you having me on, and it's an honor and it's great to be on the Comfort Stop with you. I listen to you. I don't listen to many podcasts because I don't, to be real, I don't have much time. I'm very, very busy with a lot of stuff that I do. But when I take my break, I try to listen to you or I catch your clips and I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out because I need a laugh. And
Yeah,
I want to tell you, bro, don't ever stop doing what you do because you give a lot of people out there a break from the norm, the bullshit that goes on, and you give them a good laugh. I think listen, live, laugh, and love. They say that for a reason. So keep the laughter coming, keep the comedy coming. And I know we're trying to keep it serious here, and I appreciate that and helping me get the message out here with Ray Hodge. But I love what you do. Keep doing what you do. I wanted to tell you that first and foremost. So thank you.
man, that's all love, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah. And also thank you to, hey, Alan Gigax, right? Thank you to Richie Ray. He's having stuff come out. Thank you to
Richie
Corey Wall.
Ray.
Yeah.
Let me get my coffee. Let me get my coffee.
Brothers and
Brothers and
sisters, we got a special
sisters,
treat for you today.
it's below 40 degrees out here, and I'm in my car. The heat is out. So,
But thanks to Richie Ray. Thank you to Corey Walton. Big shout out, big ups to Corey Walton for doing that for me. John Murphy for doing what he did for me as well. JH, everything USPS. I appreciate him putting up the link and talking about it briefly as well.
CCA Corner, I think, too, right?
I don't know if he did it. If he did, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you guys. Mallory and Badmouth Morris, if you did, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, I appreciate all the love. I reached out to as many people as I could, and you guys, you guys heeded the call, and I appreciate that, man, because we're gonna get into why I started doing what I'm currently doing. And that's just all revolves around obviously justice for Ray Hodge, right? So let's talk about that. You know, Ray was a Harlem City letter carrier, right? A father, a fiance, a brother in union and spirit, you know. And on January 2nd, 2025, Ray was doing his job, delivering mail to the community he served with pride when he was brutally murdered. You know, he walked into a deli, and while in there, he was stabbed 7 times. Let me say that again, 7 times by someone with a violent past who should never have been back on the street, right? And yes, Ray's killer was a transgender individual with a long history of mental illness and knife-related crimes. Someone who reportedly shouted, "I hate black people, and I'm going to make you maggot food," before carrying out the savage attack that they did. And then just went on and walked away as if nothing happened.
wow.
Now, it feels like more concern is being shown for the attacker's identity than what happened to Ray. And this isn't about whether someone is transgender or not. Don't get it twisted. It should be about a violent act that ended a man's life. No remorse, no hesitation, and now possibly no real justice, seems.
Wow.
You know, but we're not asking for special treatment here. We're asking for the justice system to do its job, deliver justice the same way we deliver mail, you know, consistently and with purpose, point blank, right? No
Yeah.
pre-sales, no parole, no leniency. You know what I'm saying? Ray died in uniform, on duty, right?
On his lunch.
As a federal employee, right? But instead of federal charges or the case being handled like it should have been, it was handled by the state. There may or may not be some factors in there that I'm not up to par on. But instead of a murder conviction, a plea deal was accepted, reducing the charges from second-degree murder to a first-degree manslaughter.
Wow.
Why? Why is there no federal accountability? Why are we accepting less for someone who took the life of a federal worker in cold blood? You know what I'm saying? But here's what many don't realize. The judge does not, let me say that again, the judge does not have to follow the sentencing recommendation of a plea deal. So meaning on the day of the sentencing, which is again May 29th, this next Thursday coming up, the judge can impose a harsher sentence than what was put in the plea deal. And if they do, that defendant has the right to withdraw their plea and face trial, or they can just say, "I'm guilty," and accept the new sentence, the sentence imposed by the judge there. Now, this is critical, right? That's why I say it's critical for us to show up and to be seen and heard. You know, our presence could influence the court to deliver the maximum penalty and set a precedent for every letter carrier moving forward. You know what I'm saying? But also what I want to talk about what actually hurts me more. And that's when the union, you know, let me rephrase it. Where was the union when Ray's family needed them? National union leadership, Region 15 leadership, NALC Branch 36 leadership. Y'all failed them, with one exception. Brother Carlton Pinto out of Branch 36. He has been there for Ray's family since day one. Not as a PR move, not for some show, but out of genuine care and solidarity. And yes, I, Ron Speakman as well, through Fed Up, stepped up to help walk the family through the work comp process, find community resources, right, and connect them to support. But it should not have been just the two of us. Wow. Where was everyone else? Where were they? You know what I'm saying? And I know this has been talked about quite a little, but On February 17th, 2025, the union hosted a media event in front of the Manhattansville station, right? NELC president Brian Renfro was there. Branch 36, Charlie Heeg, that president was there. He's also the national trustee, Charlie Heeg. They were up there. Cameras were rolling, speeches ready, right? I was up there too, but I was at Branch 41 in Brooklyn. Shout out John Cruz.
John Cruz.
John Cruz and Richie Ray out there. So Corey Walton was up there. Like there was a good training up that way. So I went up there, and some of us stayed behind. Matter of fact, it's one of the pictures that I put in there on Bill Kriebel. Shout out Bill Kriebel, Region 12 NBA candidate.
Bill.
Put in there for this music video that I did. Black and white picture where it's Grosskopf, him, John Cruz at that very media event that I'm talking about here.
Raining.
Pouring rain. Again, February 17th, but I stayed behind. In hindsight, I probably should have went, but Corey was talking, so I wanted to see what Corey had to say. Watch him speak and watching him present and do his training thing. So, but anyway, cameras were rolling, speeches were ready, and they made it look like they cared, right? They pretended to be fighting for justice, right? But that event, let's be real, man, that shit was a PR stunt.
They were cutting promos.
Right. Not a show of solidarity. They used Ray Hodge and his family to kick off that Fight Like Hell campaign for their own publicity, not the membership. Let that sink in. They used this tragedy as a PR stunt. I know some of y'all going to listen to this at National, might even see watching this, whatever you're doing. But yeah, I'm talking to you. Shame on y'all. You use that shit as a PR stunt. That's fucking bullshit. Fight Like Hell. And the family, they told the truth that day. You heard them. We got the video here. They said no one from the union or the post office reached out to them, not even after a month have passed. The pain was real and it was public. But pretty much they said what they said, mic drop, and they walked out. You can see the hurt, the pain, the disgust, a roller coaster of emotions on them. And when President Renfro tried to console them with a hug, they shrugged them off pretty much, right?
Wow.
You got Charlie Heeg, again, the president of Branch 36, national trustee, picks up the mic and says, I don't know what to say. No shit, you got caught with your dick in your hand. You tried to pass the mic to Renfro, and if you look at Renfro's face, pretty much shaking his head, backed away, and they didn't want to address it. Rather, they dismissed it. And I can go way more into this when you listen to Brian Renfro speak at that. I can break that down like an organic compound, y'all. Trust me. But I'll leave that for my show. But the point I'm trying to make is they didn't address it. They dismissed it. You heard the family speak. Mic dropped. Bounce. Carlton Pinto took them to that event. Again, he's the only one that was there through and through this whole time, right? And then there's this. And this word comes from, trusted sources of mine. I have a few of them across the country, both national and some local leadership positions. But the word was that because Brother Hodge was not a dues-paying member at the time of his death, the union said that they had no legal obligation to help the family.
Wow.
Now, while that may be true, it is still morally disgraceful, unacceptable, right? We're not talking about a rolled fucking ankle. We're talking about a loss of life. You understand?
Brutally.
Exactly. Again,
brutally murdered.
Brutally murdered. This wasn't a sprained ankle or paperwork issue that you were scared to have an obligation in because they weren't a dues paying member. This was the death of a federal employee in the line of duty. And all the union had to do was assist the family with filing a CA-5, which is the compensation for surviving spouse and children, CA-5B, right? That's the compensation for parents, siblings, or grandparents, and also ensure that the United States Postal Service, that they submitted the CA-6. That's the supervisor's report of death, right? In a timely manner, because we all know how management likes to sit on forms. That's all they had to do. Nothing more, nothing less, right? Instead, they did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, that responsibility of walking the family through the process and getting them help, that fell to me and Brother Pinto from Branch 36. It should have been the union. Where was the leadership? Where was President Charlie Heeg of Branch 36 team? Where was the Region 15 NBA or those under him in that region. They were too busy crafting speeches and posing cameras, National was, right? While a grieving family was left in the dark. You heard the family say it themselves. If you're still not convinced, ask yourself, why was Ray never signed up as a member to begin with within the union? Maybe it's because Charlie Heeg was more focused on becoming, or I should say, being a national trustee than he was actually running his own branch and engaging with new carriers. I pose you that question. You know, again, let's be honest. Our union wasn't there when Ray and his family needed us the most. And now it is our turn to show up, not just in anger, but in unity, to make it clear that a crime against one of us is a crime against all of us. Again, y'all say it all the time. An injury to one is an injury to all, right? Same thing with a crime, man. So I put together that call to action, which that's that Facebook post you're talking about.
Yeah.
The date is Thursday, May 29th, 2025, obviously. Location is 100 Center Street, New York, New York. Center Street is actually spelled Centre for all y'all out there. At least that's what I got here in my notes. It says, we're going to meet at 9 a.m. in front of the courthouse. The sentencing hearing starts at 9:45 a.m. On the 13th floor, part 32. I guess they say part 32 because I'm guessing the way they do things up there, it's a big courtroom. Maybe there's different sections. But we're asking people who want to actually do more than show up outside the courthouse, who want to come into the courtroom and fill up those seats.
Yep.
Be on that 13th floor by 9:30 a.m. This way we can get those seats filled up with our shirts if we're going to wear shirts and show some solidarity. Again, wear your union shirts if you want to. Bring signs outside in the front if you want, right? Justice for Ray, whatever you want to put on there. Let's stand together, shoulder to shoulder with Ray's family, right? Let the court and the country know that letter carriers will not be ignored, period. If we don't stand up now, we send the message that it's okay to murder a federal employee, more specifically, one of us, a city letter carrier, and you get a slap on the wrist. We cannot let that happen. You understand? Not now, not ever. So we was talking about militant advocacy and all this shit. This is a chance for us. This is a chance for us to show that solidarity, in addition to supporting Ray's family during this difficult time. What if it was your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, right? Your aunt, your uncle, your best friend. Would you not want the same thing for them?
Yep.
Anybody who's off, I understand we all got to work, but if you're off, please find time to come out and show some support, because this isn't just about Ray and justice for Ray. It's about justice for all of us. It's about setting precedent. It's about forcing the justice system, not only them, but also Congress, all politicians, forcing their hand by, look, enough is enough. We ain't going to take this shit no more. You need to throw the max penalty possible in this case. How do you go from second-degree murder to a fucking first-degree manslaughter? I'll tell you why. It's probably because they're worried about, again, I don't like to talk about it, but the transgender shit. They see all that negative publicity and the bullshit that comes with it, right? The pushback, right? The lashback. And I feel that they don't want to deal with that.
Man, the thing of it is, too, man, I saw some of those clips on TikTok, some of one of the court dates. And, man, that motherfucker, fuck, what is, I think it was, they called him Cruz.
Jaya, I think it's Jaya Cruz. I forget the first name. I believe it's Jaya or Jaya Cruz. Yep.
Yeah. They call him Cruz. Like, that's not no woman.
Hey,
that motherfucker's taller than me.
6'2" or whatever.
He's tall. Like, and you know what? Like, in the videos that I'm watching, man, if there is more, and man, I don't care. What do you want? I don't care what you want to call yourself, but if there's more trans people than there are carriers that show up that day in New York, y'all should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. Like, a fucking shame, dude. Like, because you're basically telling everybody, man, this is okay. This is all right. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, right?
I'm going to say this. Yeah, I'm going to say this, bro. If you're pushing And again, I don't like to talk about this shit because I feel the way I feel point blank, and you can like me or hate me for it. It is what it is. I can't control how you feel. I can only control how I speak and how I feel. Shouldn't be about transgender, bro. It should be a human being taking another human being's life. But the fact, I will point this out, the fact that you want to push for transgender rights and all this stuff, which is cool, right? Civil rights are civil rights, transgender rights, all that. Whatever you believe in, whatever you identify as, classify yourself as, I don't give a fuck, right? I really don't. I honestly don't. Do you deserve equal treatment? Sure, you do. I'll agree 100% with that.
Yep.
However, you need to accept the bad with the good. Rick, if that was you or me or any straight man out there, I don't even want to say that word. If it was any other human being out there, outside of the transgender community, right? It would be treated differently, I feel. So if you're pushing for transgender rights, cool. But understand that you need to accept the bad with the good. You don't get a free pass from murdering somebody just because you're transgender. I'll take you a step further. Or just because you have mental problems, mental issues, mental diagnosis, whatever it is. What about the prior convictions? What about the prior violent, convictions with a knife, mind you? You're a repeat offender.
The law's the law.
The law is the law. So I feel like they're not giving this case enough attention because they're trying to deter the backdraft, the backlash, if you will, because it's a sensitive topic of today being transgender rights. And I truly, honestly believe that. If no one out there agrees with me, that's fine. You can disagree all you want. But again, what Ron Speakman does and what Fed Up is all about is we call a spade a spade. You're more than welcome to your opinion. Hell, you call me up, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation respectfully. I can do that, which says a lot more, about us, you and I, Rick, or anybody else compared to our current national leadership who likes to spin and control narratives. But I'm open to having an open conversation. Someone thinks I'm wrong in saying that. It's not about transgender rights. It's about human rights. It's about right or wrong. It's about the totality of the circumstances involved in this particular case. Enough's enough.
Enough is enough, dude.
Enough.
We're fed up, dude. We're fucking fed up. And like I saw a video where the guy that was making the sandwiches in the deli, the owner of the deli, was like giving a witness account, and he's like, Ray was in line getting his sandwich. This person cuts in front of him, and causes a scene, and then spits in his face.
See?
And like, I don't care if you're a tranny or whatever the fuck you are.
Yeah.
But if you spit in another man's face and you're a man,
that's disrespectful.
You're a man, dude. Like,
by the way, that's assault too. Spitting on someone is assault. As petty as that is, by law, that's assault.
It's crazy, but y'all need to show up. Like, and I told how many mail trucks are going to drive by that courthouse that day?
Keep your horns, man.
Is it worth what were you doing outside of your geofencing? Why were you outside of your 1 mile radius? Like, because I was supporting my brother that was murdered on his route. Like, what? Like, man, you got to weigh shit out. Like, that could have been you. It could have been any of us. And it's a shame, dude. And it's the same thing that happened with Brother Gates. Like, he died in the heat on somebody's front lawn. But hey, maybe Renfro, he missed the fucking promo to cut. So he's like, man, and they still get it wrong. Now they still fuck up. The union people from his branch, and a lot of branches around the country, you have union officers that continue to say fucking scabs. These fucking scabs, all the regular fucking scabs.
I don't like that word, bro.
How many people are you gonna get to join the fucking union or get back in by calling them fucking scabs? Oh yeah, it's the same fucking scabs. Like, how are you gonna get that person back?
That's just petty in my mind. How about do your fucking jobs, be a leader? Again, why wasn't he? We don't know what really went on. Only Ray will know that, and he's going to take that to his grave, right? There may be certain people in his branch, they would know best than you and me and all these other outsiders like us. And you can talk to Brian, brother Pinto about this, but he was a regular carrier. Why? Maybe he had reasons why he didn't want. Maybe that was one of the reasons. You just said, "Why would I want to join a union?" You call me scab and shit. Like, yo, what's up?
Calling me a fucking scab.
But
I'm just a fucking scab. Hey,
listen,
I'm just a fucking scab to you.
that's it.
$40. I'm only worth 700 or $800 a year to you. You only see me as a dollar sign. You don't even see me as a fucking person.
Listen, scab. You know what? When you call us scabs, what's scab spell backwards? Backs. You think we're gonna think that you calling us scabs that you're gonna have our backs when you're acting petty like this? Come on, bro. Come on. I got a problem with that word scab. How about you get the fucking form, you get someone signed up, and you call it a day. Stop focusing on the negative. Stop focusing on the positive. I don't know, man. It's just, to me, it's as simple as that. There's no fucking gray area there. We need to stop calling each other scabs and shit. You can, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know some of y'all leaders out there, you're all for that term scab, but still, my opinion, bullshit. Y'all got to stop that. Is that the kind of solidarity that we want? Oh, if you're not in here, fuck you. What? It's called being human. I mean, yeah, you may not be able to get the same rights as a union dues paying member. Okay, cool. I would be understand that, right? But the name call, how different are you from management, bro? From doing that shit? Come on, stop it.
Man, you catch more bees with honey, right?
What'd you say?
You catch more bees with honey, you motherfuckers. Like, and you know what's funny though? When I was a young fucking carrier and you're impressionable, like this is back in 98, 99, early in my career. Like when you sit around these union people, and they're saying fucking scab, that shit does rub off on people. Like I remember saying, oh yeah, he's a scab or she's a scab, but man, as you get older into your career, you're like, what in the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing? Like,
That's
man,
just,
are we really worried about fucking getting them back in the union? I mean, when you get them back in the union, like all of a sudden it's like, hey, brother, hey, sister.
Mhm.
Like, what?
Listen, there's a lot of, again, solidarity, man. I'm excited. I'm trying to do my part here to gather the support for Brother Ray Hodge and his family, but also to set the tone that, hey, we demand justice. We demand accountability. We demand that you set precedent with this ruling, with this sentencing. Um, I've done what I can. There's people who are showing up. John Cruz from Branch 41 will be there. Richie Ray from Branch 41, vice president, he'll be there, who are both ironically on the CLC ticket. I know
CLC.
David Grosskopf Jr. David Grosskopf Jr. Take
Gross cough.
Sandwich.
Put them together.
David Grosskopf will be coming down from Buffalo. He has it on his calendar. I know. Listen, James and a few other people, Corey Walton, they're in Hawaii right now, with a couple of the guys over there. But when they get back, I think James has a meeting that he has to attend to, so he won't be able to come. Otherwise, he would. Corey, he said he's going to try to get out there. Again, if there's something wrong with the flights, it gets pushed back. We can't expect Corey at least to come if he's taking that long flight. Boom, damn, to Tennessee, back to New York. If there's a delay happening, so I don't know the exact day they're supposed to be back in, but he's going to do his best to show up as well. And then we have some people from Branch 36. Brother Pinto will be there. Shout out to Carlton. I'm sorry. Shout out to Carlos Van Putten, aka Hamza. He's he was just injured, so he won't be able to make it. But he has a big piece of this as well. He's helped spreading the message as well. We need the support, man. We need to show up in solidarity. Now is the time to show that. We preach it all the fucking time.
All the time.
We have an opportunity to not only show up and prove that we have that solidarity, come together for one of our own who was murdered on the job, nonetheless, but to also have a chance to, hey, send a message to politicians, send a message to the justice system. Enough is enough, and we want justice. This is a chance to set precedent. So again, I keep saying it, I sound like a broken record, but this is a chance, an opportunity for all of us. I'm hopeful that people will show up. If there's a poor outing, a poor showing, you'll hear me talk about that some more after the fact. But then I would have to question. I'm sorry, are you stop saying this bullshit, militant, and you can't even show up for one of your own and support. We talking militant, right? Or solidarity. We're
Yeah,
way more divided than we are solidified
yeah,
in
yeah.
solidarity and unified. That's just my opinion. You're throwing each other under the bus still, and if you're not going to show up for this, and again, this isn't an ultimatum. I'm just calling it like I'm calling it here. It's probably bad timing or bad taste on my part right now, but again, I can't sugarcoat it. This is the opportunity, a huge opportunity for us, but also for Ray's family. Um, Man, it's a double edged sword. And if we use it right, we can slay two beasts with one strike. So let's get up, show out, be heard, be seen. That's it, you know. And I mean, bottom line is justice for Ray, right? No plea deal, no parole, no leniency, just justice, maximum sentence, period. But I'll leave that like there, man.
Yeah, even you know what? Like Ron, I think even the managers, the supervisor should show up.
That'd be great.
Show the fuck up. Like you're gonna walk by this dude's case. That
Yeah,
and the carriers need to show up because you guys are seeing for yourself. They just plug another body
yeah.
on that route. Like, and you're gonna walk by you guys probably walk by Ray's route and they're like, man, that's Ray's route, and then just keep pushing.
I'm gonna have Brother Pinto on. Uh, Carlin's gonna be hearing this, but I gotta finish. I got a lot going on, but when I get him on, I'm gonna try to make it a priority as well. And we're gonna go deeper with this because there's a lot of stuff out here that you guys do not know behind the scenes, like Carlton knows, like I know, like the family knows, um, but especially Carlton because again, he's been there from day one. And some of the things that happen at that station, I mean, I can go into again Charlie Heeg more. I can get into postal inspectors. I can get into management, the postal service as an agency. I can get into the number of robberies or assaults, and even a manager being pistol whipped in that station or around the local areas around that station as well.
Wow.
Um, Broken cameras not being fixed. That you, I mean, come on.
What are we
What are we
doing?
doing to
What are we
protect our letter
doing?
carriers? Come on.
And what's going on in New York? Like, what the fuck is going? Man, you got police officers that get stabbed, and then you're out on bail later that night. Like, crazy shit going on out there in New York, man. Y'all got to get that shit fucking handled. Like, man, the next thing you know, everybody's gonna be a tranny. If hey, you want to do something, you want to do something crazy tonight. If we get caught, we just say, yeah, I'm a tranny. Well, shit, I'm a tranny. Shit, and the tranny shit, mental health issues.
Can't
That's a lot of mental. If you don't know what you are, there's mental health, and it's not their fault because they have mental health issues, but there's no mental health help out there anymore.
well, there is. There is.
Not a whole lot. There's not
It-
a whole lot of it. Like how many mental institutions did I think they
huh.
closed a shit ton of those.
They
I
close
think
the state
Ronald I think Ronald
hospital.
Reagan closed a
Yeah.
shit ton of those, but they're gonna throw like these mental health nuts in fucking regular prisons, and then you might have this guy Cruz. Are they gonna put him in a women's fucking state prison, or is he gonna go to the man's one? Like who knows? Like
That's beyond my pay grade.
that's crazy shit.
It
Like,
is.
and the
Think
dude was
about it.
big. Like I'm fucking that dude up too. Like fuck, man. And back to brother Ray Hodge. Like I'm not. He looked pretty young. I'm not sure how was he in his 20s, maybe 20
I'm not
something,
sure of his age.
30s.
I don't want to give out the wrong age.
He was a young man,
I was
dude.
focused on giving the family help.
He was a young man, and like, dude, I don't know how many people, how many managers, how many safety captains say, man, I don't want to be that guy that goes to your family's house at the end of the day because you didn't make it home. Here it is. Like this dude did not make it fucking home. God bless. God rest his soul. Like he didn't get this. I'm not sure. I don't think, like, from watching the videos, he lived very long after the stabbing. So, like, who knows if he even got to say goodbye to his family? Imagine. I don't know if he had kids,
You
but
know what? Listen, you know why this is a big deal to me? I shared a little bit about this, I think, in episode 1 of mine for Fed Up, but my sister was murdered on the job. She wasn't a letter carrier. All right. To walk you through, she was a Hess gas station clerk. I think Hess gas stations are now become speedways or speedies or something like that. But she didn't have one of those bulletproof glasses up, whatever. But he pretty much came in, wanted the cash, but there was a guy there who paid for gas. It was late night too. It was like 2, 3 o'clock, whatever, in the morning. And the kid that came in to get gas with his girlfriend in the car paid with a credit card. Well, you can't open up a cash drawer until that transaction goes through. Then the drawer, you can open it, right? Think about that. That goes quick, right? And that's but time. And without going too much into it, because I don't want to, talk about it. Obviously, I get emotional when I talk about it still today, but it's one of those things where he robbed 7 gas stations in a matter of a week in like 2 or 3 different counties. And my sister gave him the keys, thinking, "Hey, you can open it if you want." But also the money, there's a drop box for like large bills that these gas stations have. You can't open that unless you have both keys. One from the armory, whoever your company is that you're dealing with, Brink or whoever it is, who picks up that large bills and the cash. And then you need the gas station key. So you need both keys to. So she put the keys on the table. And I can picture, well, I did see her, but I can picture her seeing it or saying something like, "Hey, open it yourself," or some shit like that, right? My sister was like me, kind of strong-willed and minded, but I don't know what the words were said. I saw the video because when I went through police academy in 2008, I asked the DA, "Hey, because it's a closed case. I'm like, can I see this? I need this for my closure. I want to see the footage." And I did. Um, she didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her kids, say goodbye to anybody. I reached out to, there's an attendant there who was working with her because, there's some gas stations that have like a Blimpies or a Subway in the gas station.
yeah.
There's a clerk running that, I guess, for the opening shift, right? She was in the walk-in cooler when this went down. But I asked her, I wanted to know what her last words were. My chest, I can't feel my chest. And then she said, "My kids." And, she died in the bus away over there. When I say bus, I mean ambulance. Sorry. Um, but yeah, she died in the ambulance only because medevac picked up somebody else in a car accident not too far from there. So she died in the ambulance, but she wasn't pronounced dead till she got to the hospital. But my point of saying all that is I have skin in the game. I know what it's like. And that's why it's dear to my heart. Why I fight no pun intended, but why I fight like hell for Ray's family. Why I wanted to give help. Again, this goes back to what you asked me earlier, bro, about how I grew up, 2 chips on my shoulder, about doing the right thing, not knowing it. I was trying to do the right thing again. I know what it's like. No one should have to experience that pain, let alone be alone while dealing with that pain and not having the knowledge to navigate a system. And they're not even a federal employee. What are we
Yeah.
fucking talking about here, bro? Where was the union? But you mentioned that. That's why I wanted to share that story, because I can't imagine, that's how the family feels. That's how he
Yeah.
probably felt in his last moments as well, just like my sister. Did he get a chance to say goodbye? And I mean, well, I can't say nothing else to that, but sorry, I just had to share that. It's similar, I guess.
Yeah. Like, as I say, you know, these people that are murdered, and they don't get to say goodbye. Yes. And with Ray and like your sister, like, yeah, we go to work. And I heard on one of your older podcasts that I listened to yesterday, you talked about God, I hope it was your podcast and it wasn't another one. But you don't if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong.
It's all good.
But you said you don't believe when people say we're family in the post office. Did you say that in
I
one of your
said that.
podcasts?
I said that
Okay,
100%.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ron, you said you didn't like when people use that term, like, oh,
Nope.
when we go to work, we're family. Because, man, when shit goes south, like we sure don't act like family. And if this shit turns out where he's got no support, that's not family. Like you could preach that stuff, but like, man, like we talked about earlier, man, that bullshit detector, man, if you got a bullshit detector, man, we smell those bullshit fucking that bullshit.
Yeah.
Like we're family. We spend most of our days together. 10-hour days. We're together. Oh, you got married people sleeping around with other people at work. You're like, damn, you're damn near married with two wives, and you're talking about family, and then tragedy happens, and man, you're nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
And that reminds me of when my dad passed away in '96. Um, he got home from work and it was a hot fucking day. He got home from work, came home, told me to take his shoes off, took his shoes off, told me to clean the windshield of his car, and he went out and cut the grass. And he finished cutting the grass, and I was like, he's just watering the grass now. And he ended up passing away. He had a heart attack. And let me tell you something, like in '96, after he passed away, my dad, the whole office, the managers, the HR, all the carriers came to our house. It was me and my three sisters. We were young at the time. I had just graduated high school. My older sister was 3 years older than me, so she was graduated, and my little sisters were 9 and 11. And the whole office came over, brought food, fucking hung out in our backyard. Like we didn't even know these people. We were just like, man, I don't know these people. And we were like, they introduced themselves. I met some of my dad's friends, and they told us stories about how he was at work. Like, man, your dad was funny at work, man. Like he was always so funny, man. And I'm looking at my older sister, and I'm like, he was funny at work because he was a fucking asshole here at the house. Like he didn't say nothing funny to us ever, but just the fact that, man, the love, that family, that support, all the paperwork that needed to be filled out, everything. Got all of his fucking leave. We didn't get the sick leave because we get fucked out of sick leave, but everything else, all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. And on top of that, they asked me if I wanted a fucking job. Like, like, will we get back to that? No. In my opinion, honestly, like, no, those days are done. But that's how I feel about the whole family thing, the family work thing. Like, and then when I started working there, Ron, like these people that I knew already, like that I met that day, the night, like they became some of my best friends, like, and they were older. And then like it was a trip, dude. Like, because I seen some of these people pass away too. Um, Marcelo de Vera, he passed away. Shout out to Marcelo, uh, up in heaven. But ah, ah, yeah, family.
It's not a family that I want to be a part of when you're throwing everybody under the bus constantly, kicking each other when you're down. And again, this is not every office, but it's the majority.
It's a
It's
lot.
the majority. I know. And
It's a lot.
I mean, let's look at our own families. My family is one big dysfunctional family. My family extends beyond a immediate family or bloodline. Again, I was raised in the system. I was adopted. So I'm lucky to have a wide range of people who family, but let's be honest, I got one hand I can count people that I can trust in my inner circle. And a lot of them are friends. Just because they say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes blood don't always run where you when you need it the most. It's that water. It's those friends that show up in time and time again, not your family. And I feel like that's relatable to the post office. Again, solidarity. What fucking solidarity? There was solidarity, then I could see, yeah, that's a family. That's my family. It's my postal family. And that's ironic for me saying that because we talk about Ron. Are you an advocate? Um, Again, I don't consider myself any of that. I want to help and give back as much as I can. I'm considered an advocate, and that's cool. Um, I just like to be supportive and offer strategic actions and resources for people to have and take when they're in need or find themselves in need when they're going through some type of hardship or obstacle. So is that an advocate? Sure, I guess, but I don't consider myself any of that. But I hear what you're saying on family, brother. It's not
I
good.
hear
Man.
you, man. I mean, you know what? Maybe we'll just call it. Uh, we could call this shit. I'm just a delivery of justice.
Delivery. Listen, yeah,
Delivery of
yes.
justice,
I
dude.
consider myself a voice for the voiceless. I will say that about myself. I like to give people a voice. Um, when again people don't know how to, or they can't, or they have experienced so much heartache and hardship and pain, they can't function to do it for themselves. And we got to take a step back and realize, hey, what are we doing to contribute to a fucking problem that one of our own are going through? And until we do that reflection amongst ourselves, within our own branches, amongst our postal family, in our own offices, let alone across this country, you'll never see the union solidarity that we're portraying that is happening right now. And that's just my 2 cents. I don't see it happening. Um, do I want to see it happen? Yeah, and I hope I do see it one day. But at this point in time, far from making that goal a reality. I just don't see it happening at this point in the near future. Even with all these groups out there doing their thing. Um, you get maybe BFN says something about CLC, maybe CLC says something about BFN, or feels some type of way, not just saying stuff. And again, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I can just tell you what I see and what I hear, and then also
Yeah.
what I feel. And I wish we would all be on the same level, and we're not. Um, get out there and vote, man. That's step number one. Get out there and vote. Let your voice be heard. Let your vote count. That's bottom line. You want to see change, then make the change happen yourself. It starts with you individually. Vote for somebody that you want, whether it's your region first and then on a national level, right? And there's no right or wrong way to vote. You vote how you feel, right? That you feel is the best candidate, but do your due diligence. Don't just
Yeah.
vote for someone because they're somebody's friend and you don't know what the fuck is going on. So who you voting for, Rick? Oh, I'm voting for this guy. Oh, yeah, fuck it. I'll vote for him too. No, that's not the way democracy should be. That's not the way that if we're going to change things, that's the way to go and the route to take. It isn't. We owe it to ourselves. We have a responsibility to ourselves. I know y'all out there in the rank and file don't like when I fucking say that. There's a reason why it's ironic that one of my episodes entitled, what is it? We have a responsibility to ourselves or something like that. Anyway, that's whatever that's called. It revolves around that. There's a reason why that's one of the lowest ones downloaded. It's because I do a checks and balances with you out there, the membership.
Yeah.
You need to hear this shit. No one in leadership is talking about the membership. And it gets me, I'll be honest with you, Rick, it gets me fired up, man. We're quick to point the finger, and rightfully so in a lot of these cases. Brian Renfro or, Brian Thompson, the NBA in my region, or all these other local leaders, regional leaders, national leaders, what they're not doing. What about what we're doing and what we're not doing to each other, amongst each other? How come none of these leaders out here are talking about the membership like this? Again, you hear me say it all the time. Listen, I understand everybody is somebody, right? But I'm nobody special. I feel like you, Rick, everybody out there can do what I do. It's just going to be delivered in a different kind of way that's to your character, right? Everybody out there can do what Corey does. I'm sorry. Anybody can do what he does. Anybody can do what I do, right? You just got to step up, get uncomfortable sometimes, have uncomfortable conversations, and be real. Be real.
Be real.
There it is. Be real.
Be fucking
You know what I'm
real.
saying? Like, and Corey's gonna listen to this, and I know he ain't gonna feel some type of way, but again, both him and I, you, Richie Ray, Alan, everybody out there who's a podcaster, everybody out there who's an advocate, we're nobody special. We're just doing what we feel is the right fucking thing, and I feel that any of us can do what any of us do. It's just you can't deliver it like I do. You're not gonna be able to deliver like Corey does or like Rick does here, but you can still deliver a message. You can still use your voice, step up, and be heard and be seen. And I feel like we could do better as far as whether you're in the BFN, whether you're in CLC, whether you're just local leadership or national leadership. And I don't mean anything by this. I'm just speaking from the heart. I'm speaking truthfully for what I believe in. Agree or disagree, I mean, I'll leave that for you guys out there to determine for yourselves. But I feel like we all have a duty and responsibility to ourselves, number one, but also if you're in some type of position of power, leadership, advocacy role, podcaster, whatever it is, I think all of us, including me, including you, Rick, I think we all have a responsibility to be real. And being real means understanding and seeing and talking about the bullshit that we do amongst ourselves. I'm happy to see everything else come into play. Point the finger, deal with this, and that, and rightfully so. Again, but let's be honest and let's be clear here. We're part of the fucking problem, not just part of the solution. That's all I gotta say on that, though.
I agree. Man, and the thing of it is when you're being real, not everybody likes fucking real. Not everybody likes what's real.
I'm used to the targets, brother.
You know what I mean? So, man, it's just one of those things where me myself, I don't want to hear your truth and I don't want to hear my truth. Let's just talk about the fucking truth.
The facts.
Like we went so far astray where, man, your phone has an opinion now. Like, well, my phone says fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck what your phone. Tell me what the fuck you feel. What is real? Tell me the truth. Well, my truth. And there, like, fuck that. Just tell the truth.
Tell the truth, man.
Tell the fucking truth. It's fucking that simple.
That's something that Brian Renfraud cannot do.
He cannot do.
Not do it.
What the fuck kind of what kind of fucking what kind of thongs is he wearing?
They're
Fucking Brian
they're
Renfro.
not thongs, they're Speedos.
God damn, Brian
Or
Renfro.
Chris Reed, they're Speedos, right?
Yeah. They're not thong. I do not wear thongs. I wear Speedos, and it wasn't a surfboard. It was a bodyboard. I just wanted to clear that up. That shit had me rolling.
I love Chris.
But you know what? Like, it's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, God, it's fucking crazy the shit we're talking about.
Crazy. Hey, you know what? Like, we talk about, you know, politicians coming into play, right? We talk about what can help us. Everybody remembers HR Act 7629, the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act. That's what it was initially introduced as, right? But then it was later on reintroduced as HR 1065, right? Protect Our Letter Carriers Act. Again, initially introduced as HR 7629. But this is one piece of legislation that can help. And I'm bringing this up because we talk about responsibility to ourselves, just like the responsibility of a branch president, their responsibilities to their members, right? So I was out, it was like last weekend or weekend before. My daughter had a performance with her cadence team, and they sang at a veteran memorial ceremony. It was a town over, and ironically, my congressman was there, Congressman McKenzie, along with two other senators. The mayor of that town was there, but they sang. It was a nice tribute. I actually posted on my Facebook thing, so a lot of you who are my friends actually saw it. But I made it as soon as it was over. I beelined because my wife was there. She was able to get my daughter, but I beelined for Congressman McKenzie. Sidestepped a few people. Whoop, whoop. But I saw an opportunity. I saw a shot and I took it, man. You know, whatever I missed, fuck it. I'm going to take the shot. But I talked to him about it. And it was a brief 1 to 2 minute conversation. But I got him to talk to me about this. I introduced who I was. This is what I do. Federal employee, retired, you know. And he was very receptive.
Yeah.
Talk to me. And we're going to be hopefully getting him on the podcast. Now,
Oh shit.
I don't want to say definite because they are very busy. And matter of fact, I actually talked to his assistant. Now, a lot of us married men, our assistants are usually our fucking wives, right?
Yep.
He has 2 assistants. He was like, yeah, my wife too. But he's like, he actually has an assistant. He brought him in and he texted me right away his number and called me from his number. This is what it is. Send me an email, this email of what you want me to look at. Because I specifically brought up Ray Hodge. And even though it was a different district, different state, but I said, we're dealing with this all over the country. It's not just people being killed, but also assaulted. And we feel like we need this act pushed and concentrated on. Can we get your help and support on this? That's what engulfed this conversation. But anyway, what I'm getting
Hey Ron, keep it going. I'm gonna go pee real quick.
Yeah. What I'm getting at is I need people to understand that you can do this yourselves as well. If there's an event that you find yourself going into, do it up, man. Go there and, you know, introduce yourself if you can. If you're lucky enough to have that congressman in your district, you know, and if not, you can at an event, they'll give out cards, probably look like this, right? They'll have like the congressman's or congresswoman's district and information on there and stuff. And on the back of the card, the different places that they are at. But you can write them a letter. You know, they wanted me to, this was my letter to them. So I want to share this with you because I think it's a good sample letter to just go by. But the subject line of an email, I just put follow up, obviously, because it was from a Veterans Memorial Dedication Ceremony. And I put federal employee advocacy and legislative support. That was my subject line. So I started the letter as good afternoon. And I kept it short and brief because I know they're very busy. Even the assistants, you got to keep it short and brief to the point. So I was like, good afternoon, Congressman McKenzie and Mr. Weller. Mr. Weller was his assistant. This is Ron Speakman. We had the opportunity to meet yesterday at the Veterans Memorial Dedication Ceremony. First and foremost, congratulations on your election victory. It's encouraging to see fresh leadership representing Pennsylvania's 7th Congressional District, and I have no doubt that your presence in the U.S. House of Representatives will lead to positive change. I also want to sincerely thank both of you for taking the time to speak with me. I greatly appreciated the opportunity to discuss several issues facing federal employees, especially our hardworking USPS city letter carriers. It was refreshing to hear your commitment to being an advocate for us, particularly when it comes to retirement benefits and the challenges we face when injured on the job. As a longtime national advocate for federal employees and as a retired city letter carrier who personally navigated the federal workers' compensation process, I understand just how much is at stake. I've worked closely with employees from various agencies and unions across the country and have seen firsthand how policy decisions impact lives. As promised, I'm attaching a brief fact sheet on HR 1065, the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act, initially introduced as HR 7629. I've also included 4 additional fact sheets on key pieces of legislation that directly impact city letter carriers and other federal employees. These include HRES 70, which is opposing postal privatization, HR 1522, Federal Retirement Fairness Act, HR 3170, Improving Access to Workers' Compensation for Injured Federal Workers Act, and HR 3011, USPS Shipping Equity Act. I hope you all take a few moments to review these and consider lending your support to these important measures. Additionally, as discussed, I'd like to extend an invitation to join me as a guest on my national podcast, the Fed Up with Ron Speakman podcast. The show is focused on giving a voice to federal employees and advocating for real solutions. It'd be an honor to have you on to discuss these legislative issues and your vision for federal workforce support. If helpful, I'd be happy to provide the questions in advance to make the experience as smooth and productive as possible. Please don't
Wow.
hesitate to reach out if you have any questions about the attached materials or would like to discuss this further. I truly appreciate your time, both at the ceremony and now. And I look forward to supporting your efforts to champion the needs of city letter carriers, not just here in Pennsylvania, but nationwide. Wishing you both a great week ahead. Respectfully, Ron Speakman. That's just a sample letter that I did for my current situation, but you can see how easy that was. The fact sheets that I attached were from the NALC.org page under the letter carriers legislative section. You can get the fact sheets from there. Send them out. Send them out. Send an email, right? Keep doing our part. Even if you don't contribute to the letter carrier political fund, this is still something that you can do regardless if you contribute or not. This is doing your part. Even if this is all that you do your part.
It's only going to cost you a stamp.
We're going to cost you a stamp, man. But
How much is a stamp now, Ron?
I don't even know. What's it, 75 cents?
Man, it's
Yeah. That's messed up that I can't answer that, but
I can't either.
my wife handles all the mailing out stuff and
Hey.
she mixes it up, pays some checks in the mail and she pays some stuff online. So
Man, you know what's crazy though is I started buying those stamps, like the forever stamps.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't even put the number on it. They don't. You're putting stamps on stuff where it doesn't even have the number anymore. Like before, it was like 42 cents. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit. Now they're just like you put a sticker on there and like, is that a stamp or a sticker? Did they forget to put postage?
As of May of this year, the cost of a first class mail forever stamp is 73 cents.
73
But the
cents.
Postal Service has proposed a rate increase to 78 cents effective June 13th, 2025, pending approval by the Postal Regulatory Commission. There you go.
Yeah.
I got another screen up here, so if my eyes go like this, you already know.
Ron, you said you triggered something in my head right now. You said the word commission,
Mhm.
right? Like, dude, how many commissions do you think we're going to need with the way our fucking union's being run? We're going to need like a commission over the NALC fucking off.
Transparency.
Yes, dude. Like,
Commission.
we're going to need transparency over transparency. Like,
Wait a minute.
we're gonna need a group to watch over every fucking group. Is how corrupt seems shit to be. Like,
well,
the
listen.
executive council needs a committee, fucking executive watch over committee. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, dude, it's fucking so nuts.
If we do that, we just got to make sure we're better than the Postal Service as an agency. Because how many people do they have micromanaging a person, micromanaging another person who's micromanaging the person doing the micromanaging of us? You don't want to waste resources now.
Oh yeah. Hey, dude. Oh my God. I have to save that for the next podcast I do. But Corey, he did a podcast, his last podcast. He was like, yeah, I need you guys to do your homework and listen to this guy's podcast. His name was Lou Drass. He was like, he's got a new podcast. Listen to it. That's your homework. And I listened to that podcast and I'm like,
I could pick that apart.
Oh, you listened to it?
I didn't finish it, but yeah, I started listening to it.
That motherfucker right there. Man, I text Corey back and I was like, dude, you should do a podcast or I'm going to do a podcast.
Yeah, do it.
And I'm going to title that shit Kiss My Dress.
There you go.
That shit was so ridiculous.
Out of nowhere, out of the woodwork, right?
Yeah. And, one of the big things that he said in the beginning was because they're trying to do this special meeting, right? Stephanie and Jenna.
Yes.
Thelma and Louise. Thelma and Louise is going to try to put forward this special meeting. And fucking Lou Drass was like, we don't have time for this. And I'm like thinking like this whole shit with our last contract, how much time passed by? We don't have time. Motherfucker, we got nothing but time, according to Brian Renfro and the gang.
Yeah.
How many? 800 some days or 800? Were we knocking on 800 days waiting for an expired a new contract? We don't have time for this. Like, what the fuck? Where did he wake? What tree did he wake up from under? Fucking Lou Drass. Kiss my fucking Drass, Lou. Fucking come out of fucking nowhere. Where the fuck were you? And where the fuck is Frederick Rolando. Like I always ask you, are you gonna get Frederick Rolando on your podcast? Because where the fuck is that guy at?
I think the word I heard was he may be running for a position in national. I think someone said a trustee. Listen, that's just a rumor of the mill here. I don't know if there's any factual truth to that or not, but who knows? It ain't gonna be on the CLC's ticket. Probably it'll probably be on someone else's ticket or individual. I don't know. I don't know, but all I know is that's what I heard. That's the rumor mill that I've been hearing from a little bit now.
Yeah, you were talking on one of your podcasts too, and I think it was with the dude from BFN. And like towards the end of that podcast, you had brought up Jimmy Hoffa. You read like a quote or something from Jimmy Hoffa, and I started cracking up, dude. And I was like, man, I was like, yeah, dude. Like I think he was like a good union leader until they made him into a Hoffamobile.
Yeah, man. Whatever happened to that guy?
They put him in the trunk of a car and fucking smashed him up in a little box, and he became a Hoffamobile.
Well, if they gave him a chance to, hey,
Damn.
what
Hey,
you're doing.
you start fucking intermingling with the mafia and doing illegal shit, like, man. Hey, but that's money that we'll never fucking see, probably, you know? Like when you get into circles where you're seeing that kind of money, like fuck,
Yeah,
probably anything's possible, right?
anything's possible, bro. Anything's possible. Um,
Like, what do I got to do? What do I have to do? You want me to do that? Okay, I think I could do that. Like, who's in fucking Brian Renfro's pocket?
hmm.
Somebody's in his pocket for
Oh,
sure. You don't just do
Charlie
that,
Heeg. Are
right?
you in his
Like,
pocket, Charlie Heeg from Branch 36, local president, national trustee, bending down, kissing the ring, and kissing his ass. Oh yeah, he's definitely in. Brian
dude,
Thompson, Region 12 NBA. Is that another one? Perhaps.
but we got a lot of people like, the Bill Kriebles and the Richie Rays,
Sure.
like hopefully, man, the biggest fucking hammer is fucking James Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And like, man, when that fucking you had that podcast come out, it was a Saturday morning, and it's when he announced Corey was running for was it executive vice president, right?
Yes.
Uh and that was like 2 days after we got that expedited fucking decision. And dude, like we were all fucking feeling like shit. You know what I'm saying? We were all feeling like fucking a bunch of fucking shits out there in the office in our cases. The office was quiet. It was quiet in there. You could hear fucking crickets. And then that fucking podcast came out, and it was like, damn, finally
Yeah.
something fucking good, dude. So we only had to feel like shit for like 2 days until fucking fed up with James Henry
And Corey.
and Corey. Dude, you guys hit that shit out of the park. Hit it out of the park.
Listen,
Fucking
that's all them. You
brought
know,
the momentum. The momentum came back, dude. How did you get that?
I mean, James Henry, that's my boy. That's my brother for life. And him and I talk, and it seems like he's really busy now. We don't talk like we used to, but that's my man, 100 grand, point blank. And if I need some, he'll call back or pick up the phone, whichever or. But listen, I'm humbled. You know, James wanted that to be on Fed Up. He knows that I was ride or die for him from the get go. Um, you know, he's told me that how my podcast helped turn things around for him, which is humbling. I gotta be honest, man. That episode, I put a lot of energy and focus in when I did that with James, a lot of homework, due diligence, and I listened to a few podcasts because I didn't want my shit to be repetitive. I wanted to be different.
Yeah.
So I put in the homework, and I gotta tell you, what inspired that was Corey's episode. That one, he's done numerous episodes with James, but in that particular episode, you can't forget this one. It's when there was a lot of negative things being said. There was a lot of name calling. There was a lot of bullshit. And it wasn't Corey doing it. He was just reading the fucking questions from like Reddit or Facebook, email, whatever it was. And again, we talked about this earlier, how I'm an exception to the rule, how I grew up. I was the minority, la la ya. But I took offense to that. You know, I'm a Caucasian here, right? But I took serious offense to that because of how I grew up. I felt the hatred. I felt the anger. I felt the racism. I felt the discrimination. I felt all that. And clearly it was from the opposition. Clearly.
Yeah.
This wasn't Corey doing it. Corey was just reading questions verbatim. And him and I had to talk about that. I hate that he did that, but that's his decision and that's his podcast. And but that's what sparked my fuel for that episode, bro. And I'm glad I put in the homework because there was a lot of stuff that was said by the opposition out there that Corey was relating to James to answer. And you even hear James on that interview with Corey. Well, I don't know what was more offensive, this question or the question before. So I made it a point to make that a home run hit. And I'm glad it worked out for him and kind of brought things around for him. And even since then, our relationship was solidified from that interview. And I told you, Rick, remember that interview as I'm interviewing him, it solidified my belief in James Henry. Because again, I'm going to do my due diligence. I don't care who you are coming on the show. I want to try to remain, number one, unbiased. Or, I'm not going to have no, I'm going to try to remain neutral. But in that instance, he won me over during the interview. And that doesn't really happen too often. Usually it would happen during a phone call. I used to have people, I still not used to, I still do have people, we have contact and we have a conversation before you even come on my show. And I kind of vet you. That's part of my process because I don't want this to be a bitching session and I don't want to be a mouthpiece either for some. It's not what I'm about, even though it seems like that with all these political interviews I'm having. But I want to write that up clear right now as well. Is listen, I support the CLC. I'm a strong supporter. I'm an advocate for. I'm an endorser. James Henry is my man, 100 grand. So I support the CLC. Everybody on that ticket that I know. I don't know everybody, but the people I have conversations with and that I know, preferably the ones who you see that have an interview with me and that are on their website on the CLC webpage. I did my due diligence before I brought them on my show. But man, that's all James Henry. And then for Corey, because I'm sure Corey wanted to announce that on his show. Let's be honest. I would love to, right? So for Corey to be humbling enough to allow me as well, when James asked him that, to make that announcement on my show, I felt the love, the respect, admiration, and I was just truly humbled that they both would, choose my show for that announcement. So that wasn't just me. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, it was a man. Like I told you that morning when I rolled out of the station, I was rolling out of the parking lot and I was like, dude. I was like, dude, we needed that so bad.
Game changer.
We needed that one. We were getting pummeled and hey, get out of there. Get out of there. We were getting pummeled in the corner. And then we finally had a haymaker that backed it off a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, we were getting hammered. Man, and in that podcast, dude, the momentum fucking went whoop, whoop. It was like, oh shit.
That needle came back to our side.
Yeah, it went like from here, like to here. Yeah, it was fucking, we needed like a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
But man, dude, James Henry. And then talking about that Corey from Ada Arbitration podcast. Dude, what I liked about that podcast is, dude, he took like it was an uncensored interview, right? Like everybody talks about like, hey, we want it to be transparent, or we want it this, or we want it this way. Oh, fucking CLC, they're not going to tell the truth, or you know what I mean? For Corey to read those fucking hateful fucking questions, it fucking put all those people shits to bed because they didn't have the chance to say, well, he didn't read my fucking question for James Henry. He didn't read my question. See, like they're not being truthful. He said he was going to ask him all the questions, and it was just like
too many to ask. Corey did what he could, man.
Yeah, and fucking
stop blaming Corey for not reading your question. Stop it.
Yeah, and James answered all of them.
He did. Like, calm, cool, and collect.
Dude, and I've been telling him lately, dude, like, James, dude, you got your fucking dancing shoes on, boy. I'm like, at first, I was like, in the beginning, I was like, James was kind of, he was like the politician, right? Like, and then he just, he found that fucking groove, right? Like he found that spot on the dance floor where he's just like, oh, by the way, when I told him like, oh man, you got your dancing shoes on, James, he hit me back and he was like, hey, brother Rock, he was like, I was on Soul Train one time. I was dead. Oh my god. But yeah, he's found his groove
Yes, sir.
and he's comfy. And you're just like, dude, this is it just took a little bit, but like once he found his little pocket, everybody's like, that's the way I feel like. That's the way I feel,
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
But that pocket, everybody, it's that's what it is.
And
And like,
he still fields the tough questions coming in on different podcasts. And again, calm, cool, and collect. And he answers them all. Just when you think he's going sideways or skating a question and kind of going, he brings it back in to where it's like, this is why I said this. The man is an abundance of knowledge and information. He has a percentage in the ring with arbitration to back up who he is. And you hear Corey talk about that all the fucking time. Um, and he cares. And we're sitting here worried about, oh well, he hasn't carried mail for how long? Who the fuck cares? We talk about leaders on his ticket who don't have any experience, like Bill Kriebel, as far as why is he going for NBA? Who the fuck cares? Transparency, open communication. I even threw this out there because he's a fucking Marine. That's why. You know, Structure, discipline, accountability, integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking. Read the guy's implementation plan. Read the guy's, agenda plan. Read his mission statement. All
yeah,
these guys, do your due diligence and you'll see. You may not like every candidate, and that's fine, but do your due diligence. But James is the fucking truth. James is the truth. You and I, we were talking about nicknames before the other day, you know, the lone wolf, wolf, James the wolf, right? And you got the boogeyman, Corey Walton. You got Bill Kriebel, the hunter, right? The hitman, John Cruz. I don't know what Richie Ray is. He might be the coffee man, but it's
the best part of waking up is Richie Ray in your cup.
listen, if you ever had that guy, if you invite him over, hide your coffee, bro. I'm telling you, hide it. Or
Oh
just
my god.
have a Richie section and then hide yours. I'm telling you, because you won't have nothing left over. That man has coffee in his veins, his blood. He don't even have blood no more. It's all caffeine, man. Um, but no, I mean we were talking about nicknames, and uh, what would your nickname be?
Dude, well, when I talked to him, I was like, dude, you're the ghost. I called him the ghost.
Oh,
Like,
Richie?
no, James Henry.
Oh, okay.
I
Gotcha.
called him the ghost because like I told him, like, dude, I've been in the post office a long time. And I was like, I always heard like James Henry. James Henry. Oh, James Henry. Like, fucking who is this James Henry? Right? Like, who is James Henry? And then all of a sudden, fucking man, James Henry. Like, I was like, dude, you're like you were like this ghost, like a mythical character. And then I had this mythical character call me one night, and I looked down at my phone, and I was like, I looked over at Alicia, and I was like, James Henry's calling me, and it's 9 o'clock, right? I was like, it's 9 o'clock, and I'm all, and then I answer, and he's like, oh, he's all Rick Rock, and then we start talking, and I'm all, dude, man, what time is it over there? Because this is like after we're an hour into a conversation. And he's like, oh, it's I'm in DC. So man, I'm like 3 hours or something ahead. And I'm like, God dang, man, you're still going? Like we're still having this fucking chop out, we're still chopping it up, having a little a little session. And it was fucking so cool, man. It was so cool. But yeah, I was like, dude, I knew about you, but I just didn't know you. I didn't know you.
Yeah.
You're like this fucking.
You know him now.
Oh, I know him now. Yeah, for sure. And I think, I think the country knows him now. Like,
Yes.
I think election day. man, we have I think we have, people on that CLC ticket because they're older folks, you know what I mean? They're our age. Man, are we old, Ron?
No,
48,
no,
49?
seasoned,
I'm 40. Oh, seasoned, dude. I like
seasoned.
that word, seasoned. So we're a little seasoned. And like I think the ticket is seasoned because Richie Ray is like probably near my age. I'm like 49. He's like probably 40 something. But we've all experienced the what should we call that? The golden age of fucking the USPS. We've all experienced like that fucking, and that's why it hurts us so much. And you could see like when Richie talks too, like,
Why are we so divided? Ah, I remember.
and you're like, dude, yeah, dude, I remember too. But hopefully when you get those people, in their when they get voted in and get their positions, the employ those the membership will mirror their leadership. You know what I mean? Hopefully they'll be able to sprinkle it down a little, sprinkle them, lace them up. Like they gotta lace them up with some game once they get into office and spread that. It's like a plant. These motherfuckers haven't watered these fucking plants in forever, and they're expecting them to fucking produce. But man, when you got carriers out here in these offices that haven't gotten any water or any nutrients, they're dead as shit. So like hopefully, we'll start getting that nutrients that we need. And man, we can come back. We can come back, man. That's what I'm hoping for at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he's like I said, he's the truth, man. 100%. And we got to get the good old boy click disseminated and just like destroyed, I should say. And the only way to do that is vote. Get new
Yeah.
leadership in there. And you know what? That's going to trickle over into your local leaderships across this country. Too many people are in. We talk about shop stewards or local presidents in bed with management, and it happens way too fucking often. They care more about themselves, their own selfish agenda, and their own selfish
Agendas.
needs, and they do the membership on their own branch. Well, same thing that trickles down actually, right? So you have a lot of these presidents who I don't know how else to say this, man. That's just me, but they're on the NBA's dick, bro. Right? Those presidents in that region, they're all over that shit.
Yeah.
Just like people are kissing the ring of Brian Renfro. Um, Again, to each their own. It's whatever, man. But I think a lot of those same leaders who are doing that, who are kneeling down and kissing the ring and slobbering over that shit, right? I think they're, I think they're fucking scared
Bobbing the
in
knob.
their comfy positions. I think they're scared of the people are uprising. I think they're scared that change is coming, which change is inevitable. Hopefully, this 2026 election is going to change. You're going to see a total 180 the way things are going right now, and switched for the better. But I think they're scared because they're not going to have that comfortableness anymore. They're actually going to have to fucking work. Oh my God. You're actually going to
Yeah.
have to help and be involved with your members instead of doing it when you choose to do. No, you're going to do it when our members need it, not when you choose to fucking do it. You don't choose to be, involved when it's convenient for you. You get involved when the membership needs it, not when it's convenient. Let that shit sink in. But I think we're gonna see that change with the CLC, bro. I really do. And it's just I don't know what else to say, man. James Henry, there's nothing more to say about him. I said it many times over. You heard Corey say it a lot. You heard many others talk about it. But for me, calm, cool, collect. He has structure, discipline, accountability, and integrity. You never see him or hear him get angry. He gets passionate, and you can hear it when he speaks sometimes.
You
You
got
know,
to turn down the volume a little bit,
just a little.
just a
But
little bit.
I actually turn the shit up because I like when he gets. I like when he gets passionate. I'm like, yeah, Jay, let's go, let's get it. Woo! But that's why he's fit to lead.
Yeah.
He listens. Remember, you got two ears, one mouth for a reason. Shut up and listen. And then you address rather what's being communicated to you. or answer if it's a question being asked to you. And he does that. He does that with such ease. Um, and if there's a time when he can't give you that answer, he goes, let me get back to you. And he gets back to you in a very quickly in a timely manner. So what I'm getting at is he puts you first. It's not a convenience for him to get back to you. It's he tries to make it a quick and efficient process to get you the answers that you need or the help that you need, whether it's him or somebody else under him who's within that network or circle. So he's a clear cut choice. The ticket is there with the CLC. Go and listen to some of Fed Up's podcasts, with some of these candidates. And I apologize to those out there who I didn't get you on yet. That I said we are. Again, I got a lot going on, especially with that 4 year in the making interview that I got happening as we speak. It's a lot to go through. You talk about 5,000 plus pages of documentations. There's voicemails. There's text messages. I mean, emails. There's so much. But
Man, you have a lot of truth tellers too. Man, yeah, you not only have like candidates, man, like you had like episodes where you had like rural carriers, and like we talked about rural carriers too, like
Mhm.
and we tend to probably not see the same vision about rural carriers. We talked about like the 701. Remember, like,
Yeah.
man, rural carriers didn't think by going home at 12:30 every day that some shit was bound to fucking change on their ass. Like, do you think if carriers were running the routes and get done at 12:30 and taking a 701, eventually they wouldn't fucking find a way to fuck you over? Like, it's crazy, man. But you have a lot of truth tellers too, like, and then you have Lino out of Florida,
Yeah. My
and
man,
he
Miranda.
yes, dude, Lino, shout out, brother.
Yes,
Like
sir.
you're another truth teller, dude. Like, and when I told him what was going on in my office about the delay in the mail, the newspapers, the first class, he was all, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, check out my documentary, dude. And
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. And then my branch is just like the branch president was just like, oh, it's not a grievance. It's not a grievance. Management has the right to manage. So the newspapers will go on Monday. Like, how does that hurt the carriers? And you're just like, dude, can I just slap the shit out of you right now?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I'm I'm tired of the presidents like that, dude, where they're
Yeah.
just like, it's not gonna win. Like I brought that I filed that grievance before and it didn't win. It's gotta we can't fucking have that losing percentage go up on it. Like, well, what the fuck, dude? So just don't file it, just look the other way. It's a grievance, but it's not winnable to you. We'll find a way to where it's fucking winnable. You must have did something wrong before. So find the winning fucking ingredient, motherfucker.
Yeah. There's presidents out there that say we can't file any more grievances. We got to slow down on the amount of grievances that we got to file. What? Like what? I don't get that, man. Keep filing the fucking grievances. Period.
Every day.
Violation. File the fucking grievance. Make them pay. But
Yeah. What the fuck are you so gun? Why are they so gun shy?
in bed with management and their own selfish needs.
It's
You're
like,
gonna
dude,
hear
like,
that. We're gonna hear me talk big time about that with this next guest that drops. So, and her fraudulent grievances and a lot of collusion, a lot of corruption, for sure.
dude, I can't wait to hear those, man.
Yeah.
So, man, so you talked about Jimmy Hoffa, and dude, what is like your fucking all time favorite mob movie? Are we
Oh
going like
man, I can't
going
just pick one,
Goodfellas?
bro. No, I mean, I like Goodfellas. I like Casino. I like A Bronx Tale. Uh, I like actually the one with Jimmy Hoffa on Netflix. Paint House. The Paint Houses. Fuck. It has De Niro in. Um, uh, what's his name? Al Pacino is Jimmy Hoffa. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I'm
Was
gonna-
it hell? Was it hella long? Was that movie hella long? Was it something The Irishman or
yes, The Irishman. I think that's what it is.
dude?
He's like, "Do you paint houses?" Yeah, that's got to be one of my favorites, but also a Bronx Tale.
Dude, I like Bronx Tale.
Yeah,
I like fucking Bronx Tale, dude.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good ones out there, but I don't have a favorite, man. I'm
Colotional. Colotional. Hey, hey,
Bojo.
hey,
Hey,
was
see,
that? Hey, was that over? Was that really over a parking spot?
Man,
I didn't, I didn't rat, Dad. I didn't rat. I did the right thing, Dad. You let a bad man. You did a good thing for a bad man. He said. But look,
oh,
how sometimes you gotta do good things for bad men, but sometimes you gotta do bad things for good men. It's just the way it is, bro. That's the way it wants a walk of life right there. That could be adapted to this union as well. Um, boom. I know I just expanded your mind right there, right?
yeah, yeah, that's good. Repeat that one more time.
I don't know what the fuck I said. No, I said sometimes you gotta do good things for bad men. Sometimes you gotta do bad things for good men.
Yeah.
So, in this case, our membership, how you gonna apply that? I mean, you listen, I know a lot of Mike Tyson even said this. I probably got this from him, but I do. It fits true to my life and my walk of life throughout my journey here. But I know a lot of great people, but I know few who are good people. So, I mean, you understand what that means, right?
Yep.
Just because your stature or whatever your position is in society, your title, whatever, and these great things that you're doing doesn't mean you're a good person. So I think that fits everywhere in our walk of life. You can even apply that to our union. But then again, now I'm not even going to get into that. I'll let the membership do what they want with that one. But
You're only one step. You're only one step away from the gutter or the sidewalk. One step. Doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter who you are, because you're only one step away.
what were we talking about before, man? We talking about your president. We were talking about EEOs. Does the NELC?
Oh shit. So like we were talking about EEOs, dude. And like in an EEO, people that file EEOs normally, you want to have somebody just sit in with you as like a witness or
Mhm.
just to say they was there and like what was said. Like not even necessarily to fucking say anything, right? I
Right.
don't need you to say nothing. But like how about when you have a steward or a president that's like, oh, I can't, or you have a steward that says, no, I can't attend I can't do EEO. And you're just like, dude, I just need a witness. I just need a fucking witness, man.
Just need a representative here with me.
Yeah, like fuck. Hey, you won't have to. Hey, you're not working anyway. You're just sitting around. How about just sit in the office with me for like 45 minutes?
Yeah,
Fucking ridiculous.
it's crazy. I mean, does the NELC have to represent a city letter carrier during an EEO, hearing or a redress, whatever the case is, formal complaint? I mean, no, right?
No,
They do not formally have to represent you as a letter carrier during the EEO complaint process, but
solidarity.
again, you should be able, NELC should do exactly solidarity.
I'm paying. I'm
You
paying.
should advise, and generally on the rights in the process for that employee. You should advise them on those rights in the process. You should support them informally, and that includes attending meetings as you say, a witness or observer when allowed, right? And you should also clear cut here. We're talking about grievances. Assist with the grievances if the issue violates the collective bargaining agreement, right? Rather than EEO law, right? Can't file grievances for the EEO law, but we file for collective bargaining agreement violations. Um, it blows my mind. So people want to hire their own legal counsel or be their own, which you can if you put in the work. You can represent yourself, and some of us don't need that representation. But what a fucking crock of shit that we don't want to assist with EEOs. You become a shop steward because you care, because you want to do what's right, because you want to protect the letter carrier. You protect your brother and sister. Again, here comes that unity and solidarity. But I see more often not than what people actually do when it comes to relating to being a representative for somebody during the process of an EEO. And that's just Listen, again, formally, you don't have to, but
No obligation.
no obligation. But I think we should do more.
As a brother or a sister, I'm gonna go with you, right?
That's it,
You're my brother or sister. Brothers
listen,
and
bro.
sisters. No, you go in there by yourself. Fuck you.
Fuck that, bro. You talked about mental health earlier, right?
Yes. There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of people who find themselves in a space mentally where they're diagnosed with PTSD, like severe PTSD, depression, anxiety, all the above, and it affects their mental capacity to the point where they just can't think like you or I, right? Again, different strokes, different folks. You experience trauma like differently than when someone else might, right? So some of these people cannot be by themselves because they're going to get taken advantage of. And I'm not expecting stewards or presidents or OWCP reps or whoever. If you have a position in your local branch, steward all the way up to the EB, the president, and even on a national level, but honestly, more locally here, right? I feel that you need to do your part. You should recognize that. Am I saying you got to be a mental health technician, understand the signs? I'm not saying that at all. But again, common sense is common. It's not so common anymore, but still, common sense to me is common sense. We should do more than what we're fucking doing because some of those people can't represent themselves. They're going to fold under pressure. They're not going to know what to do because they're not advised, right, what to do during a formal process or what happens. They're not informed of their rights and they're going to get stampeded. You
Dude, it's funny you bring that up because in my office, we have a vet. Um, and he was in Iraq. He served in Iraq and he has PTSD. And management, they just fucking trigger him. They just fucking trigger him. It got to the point where uh it got to the point where he showed up for work and they were like, "We don't have any work for you, so go home." And he's like, "What? What do you mean I don't have any work for me?" And at the time he was a router and fucking he did routing, carried relays. One day shows up, we don't have any work for you. Go home. And this is like this is probably like a going on 2 years, this fight that he's had. And fucking I feel like our local union has not fucking had his back. He asked for, past grievances that he wanted filed. Like, hey, I need you to file this. And then, the branch is like, oh, I had to look for it. And then come to find out they never fucking filed it.
know,
Like,
blowing smoke up his
it's
ass.
it's such bullshit. But we're hoping, he's got his 100% disability for the VA. But just the disrespect that these motherfuckers have for fucking people that fucking put it all on the fucking line, like for us, the vets, man. Shout out to every fucking vet out there. Like, it's Memorial Day tomorrow. The
Let's not
utter
forget why we have a 3 day weekend, right?
the utter disrespect from management and fucking people that we call fucking, fucking the union, but more or less management. And they just shit on the veterans. And that shit's gotta stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta fucking stop. Like, you already know this guy's got PTSD. What? Like, you you fucking poking the bear. Like, man, square it up. Like, I can't go into detail like, on a podcast, but they're just totally, management's fucking this guy over, so hopefully, shit'll fucking, what doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. And hopefully he rinses fucking management's ass. So it's fucking crazy, Ron.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
This happens way too fucking often.
Yeah, Rolando,
Veterans
shout out
or
Rolando.
non-veterans. So
Fuck.
there's rights out there. They get how many even for veterans, there's rights out there. So
Yeah, they got Wounded Warrior. They got all kind of stuff. And it's just like, dude, to be
specific
just shitting on.
oversight, and accountability. We got our own veterans group here, right? in the NELC. But there's plenty of oversight and programs and resources out there for veterans if this happens to not just us as USPS employees, but also as just any federal employee. We got to utilize them, man. And I think that's kind of falls in my part in my lap, so to speak. I should get back to doing what I'm doing and away from this political shit and the politics of NELC. And we got all these other great podcasts out there to do that, especially with Corey. And quite frankly, between you and I'm tired of the politics. I don't want to.
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
5 years, shit. How
Five
about
ten,
the
five
next?
ten.
How about the next few months?
Oh shit.
I figure for me, I'm getting away from the politics. I did make some commitments to certain people, and I have to follow through on those commitments, and I'll get those done. And I've already had conversations with them because they know what I'm going through on a personal level. With my family and there's some health issues going on, but I also have some business things to take care of. They know about that guest I was talking about earlier coming on the show. That was 3-4 years in the making. I got to finish certain things and prioritize. So I will get to those people. I still got to do Richie Ray's. I want to get Anita Gusick on. I want to get Ethel Bibbs on. Howard Kameen. I want to get
Yes.
him on. Those are the four that I made a commitment to. Anybody else, if they reach out, I mean, I can try, but I can't make a promise. And again, we still have that conversations. I've already had conversations with these people off the podcast. And I feel comfortable enough having them on the show, and we'll get into it. Like you hear me get into with all the other people out there.
Yeah.
If you bring value, you're going to hear that value. I'm going to ask a few questions and may put you on a spot, but I'm only going to do that. I'm going to do that not only, for two reasons. One, I know that you're going to be able to handle yourself with those questions, but also two, they're questions that people want answers to, and they deserve to hear you answer those, especially if you're campaigning. So again, it's about trying to stay impartial, if you will, stay in that fine line in between. But again, I may be won over during an interview like I was with James. But bottom line is those four, I'll do my best to get them on. And then after that, it's back to business. It's back to the education and knowledge, how to address this, having guests on who are going through the shit, sharing their stories. We're also building a network. A lot of people don't know about this, but there's a lot of people out there that can offer help regarding federal work comp, but there's still some uncertainty here to all this. There's persistent problems where providers accept OWCP claims, but they lack the experience to handle them effectively, right? And that's often failing to establish a causation and even billing incorrectly, right? They don't know how to bill correctly, I should say. There's a lot of little itsy bitsy things that add up to major obstacles for us. With all the federal employees I talk to and advocate for across this country, and being a retired federal employee myself who's been through it all and was left to navigate, again, these dark, muddy waters alone, which was a main factor why I created Fed Up to begin with. But it frustrates the hell out of me when I repeatedly hear complaints from claimants emphasizing the necessity of connecting them to truly competent providers, right? Who are there for the right reasons, such as putting quality, right? The quality of care over quantity of patients that they get through the door, being treated with dignity and respect from these providers, just as much as we demand from fucking management, being treated as a human being, not just a number, right? Or how about the language barrier? Another big wing.
Man, this has to do with like Fed Hurt from your podcast, right?
Fed Hurt.
The same type of thing with
Fed Hurt's a provider. And
he's trying to
go ahead.
Yeah, he's trying to like the hula hoops and the fucking the pitfalls that you gotta fucking, it's like playing pitfall when you're doing, like, when you're hurt. Like you gotta fucking like
a lot of obstacles.
It's a lot of obstacles. That's the word I was looking for. How did you know? Obstacles, motherfucker.
It's a lot of obstacles, and he's just one provider who has multiple locations across the country. And I've had long conversations with Dr. Robert Custon from Fed Hurt.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They're going over to they made a change. They're being called One Fed now. So they're making a brand change, which ironically we're there's a place opening up in the Bronx that I'm gonna go check out. Because again, I vet these doctors like I would a guest coming on my show. I'm very serious about creating this. Again, that last step I was talking about was a language barrier that exists at offices that leave claimants who don't speak much English, right? Um, that language barrier causes more problems all because of that language barrier not being met. And that's another major one, but so many different reasons. But what I'm doing as part of Fed Up and what I'm committed to doing is creating and building a network for treating physicians, right, and professionals for both physical and mental injuries, and or I should say, and or illness and or diagnoses, in addition to those physical injuries that can truly help federal employees within the scope of the Fed Up network. And I vet all of them. I'm asking them tough questions, and believe me, there are some tough questions that I ask. Um, and they can't pass my vetting process, then they're not going to be allowed to come into my network, point blank. Because again, it's about you, the federal employee. We must be put first. But this is something that will take a lot of work and effort and time and energy to build. Um, I want Fed Up to be I should say, number one trusted place to go to when seeking answers for work comp. I want our network to work in combination with a union's work comp director, or in our case, even our WCAs or an OWCP rep, or any and every advocate out there for federal employees when it comes to getting injured on the job, right? Because as we all know, unfortunately, the majority come to know this late in the game for many reasons, but we all know or come to know this, that getting a claim approved right out the gate and gaining other crucial knowledge to assist your claim before, during, and after, right? It is accepted. That will deter a lot of unwanted or unnecessary obstacles from happening. But this is
Red
why,
tape.
right?
A lot of red tape.
I'm working hard to create that network, brother, and bring it in as part of a resource that Fed Up can bring to the table and offer all federal employees, and, again, I mentioned the one in Bronx, I have, some presidents going to come out there to check with me to vet this office as well. Because again, it's not just about me. I want the people in the area who are around there to feel comfortable to send people there as well, and to give the approval stamp on it, just like I am seeking to give the approval stamp on it by doing my vetting process, but I mean, listen, the surest way to get paid is to clock in, brother.
Yeah.
And again, my mission here is to eliminate uncertainty for federal claimants and fighting capable providers, facilitating approved claims, and getting them a successful return to work as soon as medically possible so they can clock in and get paid. There's so much that we're doing here. I mentioned that story too that we'll be doing. That's going to be a roller coaster of emotions and it's going to be a jaw dropper for sure. But that's what I see myself doing the next couple of months. As far as 5 years, you asked me 5 years. I hopefully doing Fed Up still. Um, as soon as these projects and commitments are done, again, when they're fulfilled, and I build something where federal claimants can rely on and get that reliable access and benefit from a specialized OWCP care, we'll be moving towards a standard where claimants no longer struggle to find proper support. And that includes updating and restructuring my website, which is currently being worked on as we speak. But which, by the way, that's www.feduphq.com. Feel free to check it out. You can put that in the search bar up top and just look for it. But this has all been going on recently. This is why I've been quiet for a while. I'm juggling a lot of projects, but it's something that I'm both excited for and mission driven
Yeah.
on fulfilling, brother. So stay tuned, man, in the near future for everything that we got going on. But 5 years, eventually the goal for me is to still be, I do enough where I have other people that can take over for me and continue on the legacy of what Fed Up and Ron Speakman have been doing. And what I want to do and transfer to is motivational speaking, doing live speaking engagements, and many different places across this country. That's what I want to get into because it is a lot. You remember, I have no team. It's just me doing everything. So for me to carry a lot of emotional baggage and these problems and issues, of everybody that I talk to. And that's my decision. I do it because I want to make sure people don't go through what I go through. And I gotta be honest, sometimes people have been so far down Shit's Creek, it's nearly impossible for me to help them. I try my damnedest, and sometimes it's too late for people. I'm not. I wish I can save every single person that reaches out to me, but the truth is, sometimes you can't. But that doesn't mean I can't be there. That doesn't mean I can't show up for them when they need me. That doesn't mean I can't provide support and uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Support and tell them basically everything's going to be okay. This is what we got going on. You know, sometimes that's all it takes for somebody not to take their lives. All this is something that our union can do. We take it back to that Brian Renfro thing and the Fight Like Hell campaign with Ray Hodge. They should have showed up. They
Yeah,
should have showed up.
sometimes people can't just fucking stand on two legs. They need that third leg.
They need that
You know,
third.
they need that third leg. So man, you Ron Speakman's got that third leg, you know.
Well, careful when
So
you say that now. People want
yeah,
to take that the wrong way.
even without that blue chew, Ron Speakman got that third leg. So Ron Speakman, you know, sometimes you gotta prop people up. They need that. They need that. They need to be propped up sometimes. Um, but man, Ron, we're going into the deep waters. It's almost 1 o'clock my time.
Oh shit.
So what I want to do right now, man, is I want to do like an outro, but man, I want you to do this outro and end it. I want you to end the episode, and then it'll be done. But I want you to take us out with Ray Hodge again. Man, because I think it needs to be fucking reiterated. So, man, take us home with Ray Hodge, and man, I just want to give my prayers and send my love to the family, um, his friends at his station, uh, man, because that's got to be fucking that's tough. That's a tough one. Um, you know, you read something or see something in a video, it doesn't have the same it don't have the same feeling uh than if you knew the person. You know, I had a friend when I was in high school, and he was at a Spanish mass, and some guy was messing with his sister in the parking lot, and he was stabbed
Mm.
by a guy, and he didn't make it. He didn't make it. So, and that was so close to home. So, man, take us out with Ray Hodge, Ron, and then man, you got the floor. So, man,
Again,
go get it.
please go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all you.
Again, we just asking for people to show up Thursday, May 29th, 2025, obviously. Location 100 Center Street, New York, New York. Meet at 9 a.m. in front of the courthouse steps. You know, wear your union shirts, bring signs, stand shoulder to shoulder with Ray's family. Let the court and country know that, hey, listen, we're not going to be ignored. Enough is enough. Those who want more than to stand in the courthouse steps, who want to actually come in the courtroom, we're asking that you arrive at 9:30 on top of up there on the 13th floor, part 32. Arrive again at 9:30, and we're going to try to fill those seats in that courtroom as much as possible with our union shirts and show what real solidarity looks like, right? You know, listen, Ray delivered for this country. You understand? Now it's time that this country delivers justice for him, his family, for all of us. No more silence, no more PR stunts. You know, we're fed up, right? We're going to show that we're united, and we're going to solidify that solidarity. We're going to prove what we've been saying is actually true, right? And we will not stop until justice means something again for Ray, for all of us, right? No plea deal, you know, no parole, just justice, maximum sentence. But it starts with you all out there. Show up, show out, speak up, be heard, be seen. Just show some love and support for the family. Because again, this isn't just about Ray Hodge. It's about every single one of us who are out there putting our lives on the line, risking our lives every single day that we're out there delivering. We deliver their mail. So what we're asking for, what it's time to show support for, and what we ask for and demand is that they deliver justice. Because at the end of the day, as you all know, an injury to one is an injury to all. So justice for Ray is justice for all. I'll just close that out right there, man.
Man, Ron, it's been a freaking pleasure, brother.
Pleasure's all mine, bro. I mean,
Man, I'm
I,
on fed up. Fed up. I got fed up. I got Ron on the comfort stop.
no, I'm on the comfort stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Ron is on the comfort stop. And he hasn't taken a fucking comfort stop since the podcast started. I had to go take a leak. But man, he's been in that chair. He's been in that chair for.
There'll definitely be an MLP coming real soon, brother.
Hey, we didn't even get to have a debate either. Like, you can't handle an MLP.
Oh, yes, right.
Shit, brother. Man, well, we'll talk soon. Man, thanks for having a conversation.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you as always, brother. Take it away, man. Do your thing.
All right, all right, all right. Man, well, everybody out there, if you're on the street and you're not beating your meat, you know what to do. You know what to do. So man, let's really fucking let's get our shit together. We really got to get our shit together. Man, I don't really have anything funny to say at the end of this episode. Because God, we just got to get it together. But yeah, thanks for joining. Episode 16 is in the books, and I'll hit you guys with another podcast midweek. Hopefully it'll be funny, and we'll be able to just fucking kick back. But this story had to be told, and it had to be told not off a piece of paper, but the story had to be told in this format, because like I said, man, you read shit off a piece of paper, or it just doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean as much. Like you're gonna turn the page. But man, let's all thank Ron Speakman for coming on the Comfort Stop.
Again, bro, I appreciate you having me, man.
Oh yeah.
It was an honor to be it was an honor to be on your show, bro. I think next time if we do this, we'll have a lot more leeway to make jokes and have fun.
Serious shit.
Serious
shit.
Yeah.
Man, the next time man, pretty soon that sign in the back, you're gonna have to change it to hung up, because man, you're about to hang up your headphones and shit, fucking off to bigger and better things.
Well,
but
they say, man, we only spark the brain to spark the change for the next generation. So we hoping with the uprising and these newcomers, these youngins coming up can further the fight that we are all currently doing, especially me here at Fed Up. So, and I'm confident that there's not just one, but a few people out there who will continue to take Fed Up to the next level. So I'm confident, and I, despite what I say about union solidarity, and we're more divided than having solidarity today. I know there's people out there that will help take this out and kick it up a notch with that Cajun flair. Well, who was that? Emerald. Bam. Bam. So
you got to show, man, on Facebook, man, you got to show those t-shirts too.
These ones?
No, the ones for when you go to court.
Oh, yeah. Let me show you guys real quick. Sorry. Good call. Let me find it on my photos here. I'm gonna do it the ghetto way. I'm gonna pop it up here to the camera. So this is what the front of the shirt's gonna look like. It's gonna say "Justice for Ray," right? Then on the back, we're gonna have no plea deal, no parole, no excuse, just justice, maximum sentence. And I'm only gonna have 20 of these. 10 large, 10 extra large. So if you're a small one, or if you're a munchkin, or if you're a big boy,
wear a hoodie under it.
One for you, huh?
Wear a hoodie under it. If you're
small,
wear a hoodie under it.
That's why I said, listen, if you have your own union shirt, show up in that, man.
Man, I don't love that.
Showing up in your total uniform. especially if you're not working, because they may be able to, catch you up on some shit as far as management goes. Oh, you're representing Postal Service in a bad way, which we know you're not, but don't put yourself in a pickle is what I'm saying. Have common sense. But show up for the right reasons, but still protect yourselves while showing support. But again, brother, I appreciate you having me on, and I'll leave you with my tagline as well, man. Hey, till the next time, I love y'all. Stay safe.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I'm off the clock. Welcome to the comfort stop.
With Rick Rock and Ron Speakman, we off the clock. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Happy Memorial Day. Deuces.
So you telling me not even postal worker is safe, right? This man went to work to do what he need to do and got into a fight in a deli and got stabbed to death. Where is the love? Where is the respect? Where is it? A postal worker have to work in inclement weather, in all the weather you can think of, and yet still nobody can respect that to bring y'all mail. Really? Postal work is already hard as it is, and you stop to get lunch and all of a sudden you end up dead? Like, what type of world is this that we living in today? Hearing this really upset my spirit because, I know people that work in the postal office. I know people that deliver mail. My wife, for instance, she used to cry. She used to say, babe, I don't know if I can do this job no more. This job is just so hard. The cold, it is so cold. She can't feel her toes. She can't feel her fingers. She's just like, always coming home hurt. And to know that I go to work, you get up and go to work and not make it home by not even something else, but someone killed you because they feel some type of way or whatever the case may be. Man, listen, I don't even have words for this, man. I don't have words for this. My condolence goes out for the family members. I hope that you can find some peace in your heart, some rest in your heart. I pray that you guys stayed, oh glory be unto God, in the favor of God right now. Amen.
Plea deal is in place for the woman accused of fatally stabbing a postal worker inside a Harlem deli. 24-year-old Jaya Cruz pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter today for the January stabbing of 36-year-old Ray Hodge. Cruz was promised a sentence of 15 years in prison and 5 years supervised release. Family members of the victim say they were hoping for a stiffer sentence.
In 15 years, her life goes on. Ray Hodge III, dead. Gone, not coming back. So, I have a problem with that.
Witnesses say the stabbing inside the deli started with a dispute over who was next in line. Formal sentencing for Cruz is expected later next month.